Thank you. You. Hey everybody, what's up? Hope everyone's having a good Friday afternoon slash morning slash evening slash whatever time or day it is wherever you are. We're going to be playing some of the new season today. That's what we're going to be starting off with. We actually have like a lot to talk about today. The new season, which we're going to hop right into. I'm actually just going to hop right into now because normally I talk about my list first, but you can actually see my list in the link thanks to my new list command I set up. So, what's up, Toad, Sturgeon, Blumby, and everyone else who is here at the start? And I guess we have a Twitter thread, because, like, I don't know, I kind of posted that thread. I mean, I'll talk more about this later, obviously, but I kind of posted that thread just, like, it's just an idea I had. I was like, because, okay, well, the thought I had was, like, because I was thinking about mid-range decks again. I think about this a lot. And I was like, I wish I could just go around with a microphone to, like, every Yu-Gi tuber and ask them what they think. Or just Yu-Gi-Oh players in general and ask them what they actually think a mid-range deck is. Just so, like, we can maybe try to define it. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's what Twitter is. That's literally what Twitter is, so I was like, whatever, I'll just throw this out. And then people actually responded, which I kind of thought I was going to get, like, maybe 5 responses. And then a lot of people replied. like a lot more than I thought. So that was cool. So we'll talk about that, too. Because I think there was some there's some very interesting insights we can gain from some of the answers. What's up, Helix? We're up against Dragon Link. We are going second. We do not have any disruption. Our hand is, like, okay, I guess, going second. The super fact is kind of weird. But it looks like they probably have a full combo, so we'll see how this plays out. It's actual literal first game of the new season for me. We literally just started. And of course, that is the other thing that we have to talk about. To say that I am excited for Ringo Worm would be like the understatement of the century. For those of you who have ever seen me play Sprite Synchro, you have only seen me fight with my weighted training clothes on. Now that we have Ringo Worm and Dispater, it's over, y'all. I gotta take those weighted training clothes off, and I play this deck at full fucking power. Oh my god, you've no idea. You've no idea. Whew. D-Link hits don't matter, they opened with both Chaos Space and Quick Launch. They did in fact open with both of those cards, didn't they? We had a hell of a time trying to open those cards. How many cards are they playing in their main deck? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I think they're playing in one banish. They're playing 40. We had a hard time opening even one of those 2 cards playing 40. Full power. It's true that the sprites have been hit more in Master Duel than when the OCG had that deck. But, like, you definitely don't even need sprite monsters to go into your combos anymore. Like, obviously we're still be playing sprites, but, like, oh man, oh, I'm so excited, I'm so ready. Only heard you talk about it for the last year plus, I'm excited for your Rock Lee moment. It's funny, you're the second person today who has said Rock Lee moment, but when I say taking my weighted training clothes off, I always imagine Piccolo taking off his cape and turban. That's the first thing I think of when I think of that, like, meme slash scene. Wonder how many cards we'll be crafting after that. So we're definitely gonna get a playset of Ringo Worm, of course, and there's a couple of techs that you can play with it that are both URs. Ready Fusion is an option, but I'm more optimistic about Cyber Skagit. I think Cyber Skagit is going to actually be insane, because if you open Cyber Skagit plus Ringo Worm, you can normal summon Cyber Skagit, link it off for Lingeribo, special the Ringo Worm from hand because you control a non-effect monster, the level 2 token that Cyber Skagit gets. Ringo Worm and the token sync for Cupid Pitch, Ringo Worm makes its token, which you can make not a tuner. Cupid Pitch goes up to level 6, sync for Chaos Ruler, and then now you get the Caligo Claw Search, you get the Chaos Ruler play, so you can go into the Sprint for the Shinobi Necro, and you can do it under Lingaribo, so Imperm or other trap cards going second don't even mess you up. And, yeah, I mean, that's Cyber's Gadget plus Ringo Worm, so... And that's kind of why I say, like, you don't even need Sprite cards to go into, like, full plays anymore, is because, like, you could also just open... I mean, you could do Sprite plays, too. You could just open, like, Ringo Worm plus Sprite Blue, and, like, that's full plays, too, but... Found your channel through Sprite Synchro. That's kind of crazy to me, but that's really cool. Thank you. Problem with Rock Lee moment is Rock Lee gets bodied and Piccolo's... Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's such a good point. Rock Lee, for such a cool moment, he just gets bodied. And then he, like, wrecks his body, his literal body, for, like, almost the rest of regular Naruto, I think. God, where did I leave off in Naruto? It was somewhere in Shippuden. But... I always remember thinking that even when I was younger and watching that show, I'm like, I feel like you wasted this moment, Rock Lee. Like, this was really cool, but now you don't get to do anything for, like, the rest of the show. They're on a ton of Bystials. Yeah, they're just doing Dragon Link stuff. What if I floodgate trap hole the normal? Then I cry. That's what happens, I cry. Oh, that's right. He is back by the Rescue Sasuke. I always forget about the Rescue Sasuke arc. Can I tell you something that I thought even as a kid, when they got to the Rescue Sasuke arc? The whole time they were trying to rescue Sasuke, the only thing that was running through my head was, why? This dude is an asshole. He's been shitty to every one of you. Why do you care? Fuck this dude. I'm not a Sasuke fan. Sasuke hater. Sasuke hater right here. Moved level 2 on the board has never been so real. Yeah, it really has. He was an orphan at 13, cut him some slack. That's fair. That's fair. That's a good point. It's somehow really easy to forget. Oh, yeah. Are they dark locked if they use Tracer? Yeah, they did use Tracer, okay. It's actually not fair, bro, trying to join it. That's right, God, it's been so long. Like, I was trying to remember as you were saying that why he left. That's right. He left to go with Orochi. It's been so long since I've seen or, like, thought for more than like a couple of minutes about Naruto. Not that I dislike it, I just kind of like, God, where did I... It was somewhere in Shippuden that I left off. It was before Shippuden spoilers, I guess. Well, maybe, because I don't even know. I haven't seen this part, but, like, I know there was, like everybody came back to life at one point. I didn't see that, so it was before that. This is, like, post-third Hokage death. This isn't like, oh, he's a criminal. Lond, thank you very much for the follow. He already pulled the get down, Mr. President. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why that tournament got interrupted, isn't it? Or did it get interrupted because Gaara turned into the thing? Or was it both? I think it was both, right? Or was it one then the... I don't fucking know. What do you do about the second one? Spoiler alert for a 16-year-old series. I mean, like, I don't know. You know, the thing is, Naruto is a very, like... impactful series. I can see why somebody who's like never seen it but been interested would want to maybe not get spoiled. Oh my god, I have to actually... That's right, we're in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not just chatting. Alright, right on time, Ash Blossom. Actually, if they have a maxi, I was gonna say it might be right on time. Never watched Naruto, never plan on watching it. I watched a lot of shonens when I was younger. Bleach was mine of choice. I was a Bleach fan. Do we start off with circular or do we start off with small one? Does it actually matter? I don't think it does. I'm just gonna activate circular. Just watch Boruto. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I always forget they called it Boruto. Like, I don't know, it's not like an awful name, but it's a funny one. You're watching 5Ds for the first time? Hell yeah. Wait, are you watching it subbed or dubbed? You should definitely... Fuck, oh my, that's fine, actually. You should definitely be watching it subbed, IMO. And that's not even like a pretentious, like, only the sub is good. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, legit, the dub is super different from the sub. Super different. Bleach 1000 Year War anime is actually adding things, author... Oh, really? That's cool. I've been meaning to watch New Bleach. I always forget what it's called, so I just call it New Bleach, because I'm a child. Let's see. No, I just actually can't remember things well. I guess I'll reduce this one. Sure. Excuse me. The Holy Shonen Trilogy. Is One Piece the third part of that? I've never seen any bit of One Piece. I kind of thought about getting into it, but I thought there's way too much to watch, I'll never catch up, and that was like 6 years ago, so... One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, that's right, okay. Okay, what am I doing here? I guess whatever they allow me to do. Am I actually, is it right to go for Alimbertion here? Have I normal summoned? I haven't. You know what, let's go for Alimbertion then. And then they'll negate it, and then we can... try to Small World for a Defensor, and then... Wow, we have... Nah, we'll see what they do. They haven't used any of their negates, though, right? Yeah, this is an issue. I don't have anything against One Piece either, by the way. I just want to point that out. I just haven't seen it. That's because, you know... Because, like, the dub... Because, you know, I was a kid when all these shonens were first coming out, like, in the US, so the dub is how I got introduced to pretty much all of them. They actually let this resolve. Okay, let's get Diameter then. So, you know, Naruto had like an I don't know, whatever. For the time, it was like, I was a kid. It was a fine dub for me. I don't know, maybe Naruto dub isn't terrible. I haven't watched it since I was a kid. Bleach dub isn't like the worst, you know? Like, it's fine. So, that I really got into. But, I mean, we all know about the 4Kids One Piece dub, right? That was one of those shows where I saw the promo commercial, and even as a kid, I was like, I'm not going to watch this. like as the target demographic, I was like, no, thank you, I'm good. Let's see here. God, I hate how much they're letting my plays go right now. It just makes my loss feel so much more inevitable. Yo. Can you rant about the Zexal dub? Go right ahead. I love Zexal, and is it gonna be about Yuma's dub voice? Because, like, I feel like I started to play a YouTube clip of Zexal dub, and I heard Yuma talk, and I just, like, clicked pause, and I'm like, I'm good, thank you. But yeah, definitely, go, the floor is yours. One Piece will never die. I will die before the end. It's looking like it might be that way, honestly. One Piece is like, what did I hear someone say once? One Piece is like the Simpsons of anime. Zexal, Zexal and Arc V have the exact opposite problems. Arc V has a phenomenal beginning that just doesn't go anywhere. And Zexal has a very lackluster beginning that's like culminates into something much, much greater than what it started as. I like both shows for different reasons, though. Okay, what did they negate with? I wasn't even paying attention. It was the Borland, right? Yeah, alright. Let's make Link Decoder, I guess. I'm just kind of chatting this game and seeing if I can play through their negates. One Piece is probably 5 or 6 years from finally finishing. I feel like I had friends who said that 5 or 6 years ago. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna claim somebody made that statement. I don't have that memory. But I feel like that is something I probably heard 5 or 6 years ago. Not gonna lie. One Piece is more of a show you can't binge, just watch it regularly. You will catch up eventually, and the journey is worth every episode. I see you say that, but like, won't it take me like 10 years? Like, won't it take me like an actual decade? And the other thing is, too, is like, you know, I know this is a whole classic, like, well, you don't have to watch everything, and it's like, but I don't want to have to do homework to know what episodes I have to watch. Not for a show I'm just trying to relax and watch. That's too much work. Any Attack on Titan last season spoilers? What have I seen of Attack on Titan? The first, like, dozen or so episodes? I'm probably not gonna finish it. I mean, I don't care. Other people might, though. Why are they... They're letting me do a lot of stuff. I'm just kind of, like, going on autopilot as I'm talking here. I just kind of realized I'm still, like, gaming right now. Wait, don't I just win? Hang on a second. Because I'm just gonna enter battle phase and they can't activate effects. 11th... Yeah, I just win. Hang on. Because I actually have multiplication in my deck now. The Dove Zexal, they censor a lot of stuff, so near the end of the series when Kite dies on the moon, I always wondered what they did about that. Hold on a second. Let me finish this game. Let me finish this play real quick. Because I remember watching that in the sub, and the first thing I thought is, like, they're going to have to skip this episode. They're going to have to skip this episode. How else would they do this? Because he straight up died. Like, he doesn't, like, it's not ambiguous. He runs out of oxygen in his spacesuit. Like, it's not even a little bit ambiguous. Also, did our opponent just, like, let us win here? What happened? What happened? What happened in this duel? How did they lose this? I just chatted into their full board of negates and, like, autopiloted into a terahertz and won that duel. My hand is full. I only use circular. I literally only use circular. Oh, sorry. I used the addition to, or the subtraction that reduced the hot red's attack points. I used the circular and subtraction. Oh, that's good. We're planning to negate the access code talker. Oh, maximum number of saves. No. No. I actually don't think I need any of these saves anymore. Okay, hang on. I want to go back to I Wish I Was Dead's, because, yeah, I want to talk about Zexal dub for a second. So for the dub of Zexal, they censored a lot of stuff. Near the end of the series, when Kite dies on the moon ring of oxygen, it's a very sad, somber scene. His family's watching crying. But the dub has the family say, "Don't worry, Kite." They do not say the space ambulance. Do they really? Do they really say they're sending a space ambulance? Are you kidding me? No. They don't say that. Because I remember, yeah, that's like, oh my god, that's like the crowning moment of Zexal, is that scene. A space ambulance? They're planning on posting on the r/Master Duel how Mathmech is broken. See, even D-Link full board loses to it. I added full board, you just said D-Link, but yeah, no, that's wild. Both of those things are wild. Both the space ambulance that saves Kaito in the dub of Zexal, as well as the fact that my opponent full comboed, ended on 3 negates, 2 omnis, did not use either of the omnis though, and allowed me to terahertz OTK. Maybe they were like, maybe they saw my last deck profile and they were like, oh, Hexflex isn't on multiplication. They can't OTK even with terahertz here. And it's like, about that, Captain. I can, because I do now. Space ambulance. A space ambulance isn't even gonna fucking... How quick would it have to get there to save you from running out of oxygen? Like... Doesn't the pressure, because his helmet, like, cracks, too. Like, the glass on it is cracked and it frosts over. Isn't he, like, instantly frozen? Or, like, doesn't your head, like, implode or something from, like, the vacuum of space? I think, is it like, I feel like that's an instant, like, game over kind of thing. Like, okay, let me think about this hand for a second. I might actually want a small world for Ash Blossom, because I already have Circular plus Guardian, which is a full combo. This will also bait Ash Blossom from them. Okay. Okay, I don't think they have Maxi, but... You know what? This is fine. I couldn't have grabbed Ash Blossom anyway, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Oh, wait, maybe... No, hang on. This is fine. We'll just grab, like, a diameter here. E. Okay. They were also chatting. Yeah, let's go with that. Sometimes I think about that. Sometimes when opponents make really weird, good talk. Sometimes when opponents make really weird plays, I'm like, what if, like, their little brother was just in the room? Do you ever have games where you wonder if it's, like, the person's, like, little brother? Because, like, they'll be in, like, Master, but they'll be playing very much not at Master level. That's happened to me a couple of times. Also, thank you for the follow, Savvy Stoner. Ooh, I love that username. That's a really fun name, actually. Listen, you don't know space ambulances have light speed technology. It's 21XX thing you wouldn't know. You know, Zexal does take place... It's supposed to be, like, decently far into the future, I think. But, like... But... Do I even have to, like, go into why this... Do I have to go into why that doesn't make sense? No? Good talk. Alright. I think we start with Small World here, because, like, it baits Ash Blossom, and, like, we can full combo with this anyway, even if it gets negated, and we can always just go into Circular. Okay, no response. No, I know you were joking. I know you were joking. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dubs. I was gonna say don't ever change. Apparently they don't. It's just wild how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the most censored piece of media I feel like I've regularly interacted with. And the fact that it's... Fuck. You know what? That's fine. We still have plays. The fact that it's remained so censored for like so long too. No, I'm not gonna max it here. I don't think they have another Bastille. We're good. Okay. Do I make Link here, or can I make Link Decoder? If I go like Link Decoder, Parallel into... Can I skip Splash Mage? I could, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm gonna make Lingaribo here. But I think I know I could still make a Terahertz here without going into Splash Mage. But it would be really weird and like kind of doing it for no reason, honestly. Plus, I think I might still have a full combo board. Hang on a sec. We'll see how this plays out. Sling's kind of the other way. Around is at the final battle of Reigns. Hang on a second. Let me do my plays. But I'm very interested to know more about Vrains. I still need to watch Vrains. I know a lot about Vrains, but I haven't, like, seen... I mean, I've seen a decent number of episodes, but not all of them and not in order. Vrains has a lot of really cool moments that I've watched on YouTube. Fuck, Ash Blossom too, really? Okay. I like it here, Lex. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay. So... we can Splash Mage and still make Terahertz. That's cool. Let's do that. No, it's fine. I know how Vrains ends. I know everything about Vrains. I just haven't actually watched it, which is kind of sad to say, but that's how I consume some pieces of media. Hang on, this is level 4 lower, right? Yeah, alright, so we need to bring back Circular. Please don't have another Bastille. Thank you. Okay. I didn't think they did. I just had a feeling. Alright, and then transcode. Everyone is awesome. That's so true. Thank you very much. That's so true. Y'all are awesome. Oh my god, if I can talk. I really appreciate having everyone around, everyone who's chatting, everyone who's lurking, everyone who just hangs out. Okay, Terahertz. How does Mathmech work? What stops them? Max C is like the big one, and I know it's like, yeah, Max C is really good against a lot of decks, but this deck is especially, it can often have a hard time playing through a Max C. especially going first. Bestials can be good. Doesn't always stop you, but like the Bestials did stop me from, you know, setting up my what's it called? Super factorial here. But Nibiru can often stop them, but it isn't a guarantee, especially if they play... Well, because here's the thing, if they play Link Spider, which is kind of hard to play because you don't have a lot of extra deck space for it, but if they play Link Spider, then they can just play through, what is it called? Nibiru. Alibur, the Jester of Despia. So I want to imperm this. No, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, you were talking... I just scrolled up and read your comment about Vrains. You're talking about, like, differences between sub and dub lines. Yeah, it's like, you know, there are a lot of anime where, like, you know, the dub is fine, or even, you know, good. I think Death Note is actually a great example of that. Death Note... The Death Note dub feels exactly as good as the sub, even in terms of, like, voice acting and stuff. Like, I feel like they did a great job. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was really well done. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of not the case with that, you know, 4Kids and all that fun stuff. And even after 4Kids, Vert Anaconda, okay. I could just use Aggregator on this, honestly. That actually, I think, is the play. To use Aggregator now. This is, I think, is going to be one of my best opportunities to use it. I could also use it on Branded Lost. Ooh, I'm going to use it on Branded Lost. There we go. Oh, I should have also Max Seed. Well, yeah, I didn't know they were going to Link Summon, to be fair. Vert Anaconda is not necessarily typical in... What's it called? Oh, they can't use Branded Fusion, you're right. Oh, yeah, so we definitely just negate the Vert Anaconda, then. Because they've Link Summoned. Yeah. Explain for everyone who's stuck in ad land. Yeah, we're gonna negate the Vert Anaconda. And now they can't... Yeah, yep. Imagine being stuck. Are we in an ad? I just like to assume, you know, when it tells me. They paid 2K still? Okay. Oh, but as I was saying, yeah, I didn't maxi when they had the two monsters out. Like, I know I said, oh, I should have, but then it's like, no, I mean, it's not, you know, I think it's fair to not expect Vert Anaconda there, honestly. Okay, they are going to activate this, but we can just negate that. Yeah, I'll negate this. And then if they still have plays after all this, we still have Imperm and Maxi. And an 8,000 attack terahertz. Doesn't negate activation. You're right. Oh, they added it anyway. Oh no. It does. Oh, does this just sit flat say? That was weird. Okay, so I thought because I was able to respond with D-Save Worm, it would, like, work. Or rather, I guess what I should be saying is I thought that if Branded Lost was going to prevent that, I wasn't able to respond with D-Save Worm at all. Is that not how that works? Okay, well, they don't have polymerization in the graveyard, so we can just imperm this. Oh, no, we can't respond. Right, because of Branded Lost. Ah. That's weird. I could have... Maybe it's because of the way D-Save Worm is worded. Negate that activation. Okay, well... So what could we have done differently? Could we have prevented this? If we had, we definitely should have chained Maxi to the branded loss. That's for sure. Maybe... No, I think Aggregator on Vert was probably still fine. They just happened to have the branded in red, right? Perhaps we should have negated the loss. Well, the thing is, like, using D-Save Worm on a continuous spell, I'm pretty sure doesn't actually stop it. Like, it won't stop it from resolving, and they can still use the effect, I'm pretty sure, right? Isn't that how that works? End of the main phase, okay. Thoughts on Microcoder and Cyanide Conflict? I've never been a fan of them. They didn't battle? Okay. Oh, they can't. Branded in red, right. Right on time, Ash Blossom. Okay. Negating the lost activation sends it to the graveyard? Oh, I must be mixing up activation and effect. Negate that activation. If they I don't know. I feel like I've had a situation, not with D-Save Worm, but with a different card, where they activate a continuous spell or trap card, and I go to negate. It must be negating the effect when they activate. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like mixing it up. Xyz on Lost and Vert. Oh yeah, and then I could just imperm the Vert. You're right. You are correct. Rebellion's fine. Okay, yeah, we should just use our negates in a different order. I guess I'll see if I top deck like a circular or something. Cross out. Okay, I'll just chain Maxi, I guess. No Final Fantasy today. We're gonna pick up Final Fantasy Friday again next week. I just wanted to do Master Duel today. Okay, yeah, no, we're just out of here then. I just want to do Master Duel today because it's the first day of the new season. So, but Final Fantasy VII Remake shall resume next week. Because I definitely want to finish that game and play the DLC too. That's like the whole reason we're doing that playthrough. Yeah, that was rough. That was winnable though. We just had to use our negates in a different order. No, it wasn't unlucky. It was a misplay, but that's okay. Now we know for next time. It's an interesting small world. Okay. That had to be like an FTK bot, right? Who's your favorite duelist to watch / get inspiration from? I don't know. I watch a lot of people. Nope. It was Rika Sun Avalon, who was not about to go second for even one moment. Give us a hot take. I remember you mentioned this a while ago. Tell me your opinion on Pokemon Legends. You mean Legends Arceus, right? I don't know if I have a hot take. I mean, because my take is it kind of sucked ass, and I think that's what everybody thinks. I think Pokemon games have been really disappointing lately, rather. Legends Arceus was the reason I did not get Scarlet and Violet, because I didn't want to be let down again. Bricka. Oh yeah, we were talking about this on the Discord yesterday. I was kind of surprised this deck isn't called Plant Link. You could be calling it P Link. Apparently, some people do call it that. Tell me how it's bad. Excuse me. Please, Fast Duel. I am not going to promise that at all. Why was it bad? It didn't look good. It didn't feel good to play. I wasn't expecting Breath of the Wild, but for Pokemon. Like, I didn't even have my hopes set that high, but like, I don't know. The story wasn't engaging. Every cutscene, I was just like, God, can we move on with this already? Catching Pokemon was like kind of fun at first, but felt like a chore fairly quickly. And the game felt like it randomly ended like 2/3 of the way into the story. And honestly, after the credits rolled, I didn't even really bother finishing the rest. I was like, okay, dusted my hands. I was like, I'm done. That's my quick, off the top of my head summary of why I didn't like that game. Graphics like, I remember in the first trailer that came out, the very first trailer that came out for that game where everyone was like, ooh and ah. I remember seeing Pokemon lagging in the background, and I was like, oh no. Thinking back to Sword and Shield, I was like, no. And people were like, no, it's okay. It's just the first trailer. It's just, and I was like, I don't think. But you know, I wanted to give it a fair shot anyway, and I was let down. Like, I'm not even gonna make any bones about it. It just massively tanked any interest I had in future Pokemon games, which sucks because I love Pokemon and I miss being excited about Pokemon games. Scarlet Violet shiny hunting is brutal on the eyes. I tried watching like some amount of gameplay and I was just like, no. Debunk. Oh my god, I haven't seen this card since a side deck in like 2013. Debunk. Alright. Normal summon. Okay, cool. We're good. Get bunked. That's good. I should have normal summoned, actually. Why did I do that? You know what? Actually, it's not even a bad thing that I normal summoned. So I get to do this now. Might as well run Counter Fairy at that point. Ooh, Counter Fairy. I haven't thought about that deck in forever. That's a fun deck. Yeah, let me think about this for a second. No, Alemb for... I've used my normal summon, though. I should have normal summoned multiplication. Can I still win? Alemb for... Also, Glass Lucky 300. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Addition... It might be Ferret Flames. I'm probably overthinking this, honestly. Not that one. I could go for that one. Is it actually better to go for Splash Mage and like bring back the multiplication? I don't have the multiplication. Or not bring back the multiplication. So I think I do need to go for an access code OTK, and if I'm gonna do that, then I think I do just need to use the Lingreaver as a material, which will hopefully be fine. We'll see. They either have it or they don't. Whatever. It's fine. I'm sorry, please, Fast Duel. I totally forgot that was this person's name. I'm sorry. I just had to weigh my options for a second there. Let's activate Update Jammer. Sometimes if you activate Update Jammer, they think you messed up. But JK, you didn't mess up because this card isn't once per turn for some reason. No, they have a Ghost Ogre! Ah, it's fine. Okay. You've seen this person before? Serious question, should I sub here or the Patreon? What's the difference between your options? It's up to you, honestly. Either is very much appreciated. Here you get like the emotes and the sub badge, which is cool if you're more into Twitch. But if you're more into like regular, I guess like video uploads, then that's what happens over on Patreon. I usually upload either a game that's exclusive to the Patreon or a preview of a video that's going to come out in the next couple of days. Sometimes I do Q&As, sometimes I do other stuff, like sometimes I'll talk about what I'm working on the channel in advance. So it's up to you, whichever you would prefer. But either or is very much appreciated, and thank you very much. Always on the videos. Thank you, I very much appreciate that. We have three I think we only have two Mathmech in the graveyard. Yeah, we only have two, because the circular got banished. Oh, and they summoned wait. Oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Somehow. Oh, it's the... Oh, no, that's not the new one. The new one's not out yet. What does this do? Okay, sure. What is this adding? Yeah. Oh, hang on. I want to see what I wish I had said about Pokemon. Hey, thanks for that sub, Leo. I super appreciate that. Thank you again so much. That's very kind of you. I think Pokemon would fix a lot of issues it has with its replayability by allowing you... that's a top deck. By allowing you to do challenge mode to restart your playthrough with any Pokemon on your PC. That would be cool. Pick a new starter gym badges with level caps. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Pokemon Black and White 2 did a lot right in terms of like replayability, in terms of just overall how good the game felt to play, the story, the challenge, but not only just replayability, but post-game content. I think this is something that is not only lacking in modern Pokemon, but just in a lot of JRPGs in general, is like good post-game content. And Black and White 2 has a ton of good post-game content. The Pokemon World Tournament, you get shinies, like they give you multiple, I think they give you multiple shinies in that game. Like I know you get the shiny Haxorus for seeing the entire Unova Dex, which is not even that hard. I think you can do that in-game. I'm pretty sure that they give you the opportunity to do that, so. They did have a challenge mode in Black and White 2. It made the game easier. It actually depended on which version you got. One version, after you beat the game, you unlocked hard mode, and the other version unlocked an easy mode, which is really the just most baffling decision ever. One, not only to just separate the two between versions, but like, why would you beat a game on normal mode and then afterward want to play it, or like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you want to play it on easy mode after you already beat it on normal? It's like, also, we definitely just lose here. It's too bad. We're like kind of close to not losing, but Logia. Well, I mean Rexterm too. I'm just gonna concede. Need to bring back the battle train. Oh yeah, the battle train. I always Black and White. The Gen 5 had so much going for it. Gen 5 was. Here's the thing. Pokemon Crystal in particular is my favorite Pokemon game, but I think Black and White 2 are the best Pokemon games. Gen 5 was definitely quite peak. And the music, oh my god, the music in Gen 5, oh, it slapped so hard. It was all so good. Speaking of good, unless they have like a Maxi, this hand is pretty insane. You know what, even if they have a Maxi, I'm pretty sure this is one of those hands where we can like, not play through it, but we have plays despite it, if that makes any sense. Alright, I'll just send addition, yeah. Because we have multiplication, so that doesn't end up mattering as often. XY went downhill from there. Yeah, XY was a noticeable drop. Like, XY is, like, fine, but after Black, White, and Black, White 2, it was, like, a noticeable, like, oof. I'm not gonna lie, maybe this might be a bit of a hot take. I felt the same way playing Gen 3 after I played Crystal. I thought Crystal was much better than, like, Gen 3 overall. Oh my god, we have a lot of summons here. Like, I remember the first thing I thought when I played Crystal as a kid, I was like, oh, there's no day-night anymore? Like, what? Oh, there's no phone anymore? What? Like, oh, I need to click the side there. Like, a lot of the things that made Gen 2 feel special, that, like, really made that world feel alive, like, just didn't translate into the Game Boy Advance version for whatever reason. And, like, they tried to do, like, secret bases, which was, like, it was kind of fun, but I don't know. Gen 3 isn't bad. I don't want to try to sound like I was saying Gen 3 is bad, because it's definitely not. I'm gonna get subtraction here. Gen 3, too much water. I actually like how much water there is in Gen 3. But I can understand why people would not. It's a lot of surfing. I like games that let you just, like, you know, cruise around in a big ocean. I really like... I forgot I had Parallel Exceed in hand. Oh my god, this hand is insane. I think I can make Singularity, Terahertz, and Heat Soul with this hand. I think I can very easily do that. No, I'm not saying Gen 3 is bad. Gen 3 is good. It was just a little bit of a letdown after Gen 2. There were certain things about it that were a bit of a letdown. Let me phrase it that way. I can just see the comments on the next video. Hex Gen 3 hater Lex. Oh shit. I'm not gonna have an open zone. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I just have to do it like this. Beep. Beep. But I was gonna say other games with big oceans that I like. Subnautica. I love Subnautica. That's actually one of my favorite games. I love Wind Waker. Is a very fun game. I have not played Sea of Thieves yet, but it's actually on my wish list because I like games with big oceans, and I know that game has a big ocean. I think it has a few, actually. How was the second Subnautica game? It was okay. It was not as good as the first one. It was fine, you know? It was like, whatever. I think I screwed up making Heat Soul too. Wait, hang on. No, I think I did, actually. I think I needed to keep Splash Mage. I did screw up on making Heat Soul as well. Darn, I'm only gonna make what is it? I'm only gonna make Singularity, Terahertz, Super Factorial, Imperm. Oh wait, no, I don't think I did, actually. Hang on a second. No, I can still make Heat Soul. Hang on. I just have to... Hang on. I just have to use... I have to use Terahertz for Dotscaper, but that's fine. That's worth 2 draws, I think. And then we use... Because we'll have a fire, so we'll use this. And then we'll have an earth, so it doesn't matter which one of these we use. We'll get circular in the yard. And then we can subtraction. Monster Hunter. I've never played a Monster Hunter game, but I've heard good things about them. Sphere mode. That would be really funny. Come on, Maxi. Sphere mode FTK. Pikmin does have really good water graphics. I have not played all the way through a Pikmin game. Why do I feel like I have played a Pikmin game... Oh, shit. Hang on. I almost got distracted. I did get distracted. I could have waited till battle phase. This is fine. Okay. I should have waited till battle phase. Alright. Let's play around evenly real quick. Oh, there's... Okay. That works too. You should play Pikmin. They're really cool. They do look like really cool games. Okay, good talk, opponent. What were they on? I want to see. Maybe I played it at like a friend's house when I was really young or something. I have... Or maybe like I rented it when I was really young. Like I have a memory of playing Pikmin. Not even like at a store demo, like in someone's house, I don't know. But I never owned it, and I definitely didn't finish it because I don't know how that game ends. What are you on? What are you playing? Blackwing. Okay. We'll save that one. Just show like what you can do if you open like the absolute ridiculous stone cold nuts. Pikmin 3 had a demo. I don't think I played it. It was definitely one of the GameCube ones. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Maybe it was. I really don't remember. But they do look good. Speaking of looking good, wow, this hand is amazing. Let's lead with Small World. If it resolves, we can grab Diameter. If it doesn't, that's 100% okay. They're on 60. They're on 54. It's an interesting number. You can look at this one. And usually like sending a parallel exceed here. Because if we didn't open it, it's like you never need the third one, right? But you still play 3 so you can open it. But if you didn't open it, you can just dump the third one. D-Link. That's a good guess. D-Link for 500 Lex. That's good. Survey says... Oh my god, I haven't watched Jeopardy in forever. I fucking love... Like, I'll watch Jeopardy reruns. That show is so fucking good. Alright, what you got? Something? Anything? Nothing? You don't know how much of a nerd I was in high school. I used to look forward to coming home from school so I could watch Jeopardy. Alright, yeah, let's make Alamp here. Yep. Just want to make sure we're at that spot. Many old memories of watching at Grandma's house during parties. Hell yeah. Like, I know what you mean, but I imagine you're at, like, your grandma's house and she's just on, like, an absolute rager, but you're in the living room and Jeopardy's on and you're just like, can you all quiet down, please? Okay, let's grab, because that's going to stay in the yard, right? Kind of doesn't even matter here, but I think we leave the equation so we can search it off circular next turn. If you watch MBT's Jeopardy, I love MBT's Jeopardy series. I think that was a phenomenal idea. Oh yeah, we did actually need to grab subtraction because we need the third body in the yard. I love that series. It's great. Bestial Sarnair is fine. I can negate it, though, and I think I will. Yeah, I'm going to negate it. Because I'm going to use this Alimbertian as a material later anyway, and I can negate other stuff with these, hopefully. Wait, do I play Nibiru? I actually forgot. I should know that. I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, I play Nibiru. Okay. Oh, they have something else. It probably is Nib, honestly. Yeah, MBT does Yu-Gi-Oh! Jeopardy. It's a lot of fun. It's a great series, actually. I highly recommend it. MBT makes good videos. Like, duh, oh my god. Like, you need me to tell you that. Might be a Bestial. Or another Bestial. Yeah, it's probably another Bestial. It's more likely than a Nibiru. Okay. I don't think it really matters at this point, like, what order we start making things in. Like, super. I mean, obviously, you know, you don't want to make, like, a transcode right now, but I'm just, like, make this Splash Mage and just chilling, you know? We're just activating Splash Mage's effect. Targeting the subtraction in case it's a Bestial, which it probably is. But, yeah, you know, it's like, we're just big chilling right now. Alright. Go for the link decoder. It's an amazing series. It is. It's super good. Sarah was an answer, therefore it's good. Let's see. Transcode. Boom, 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 boom. Yep. Sounds good to me. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Having zones is like one of the main reasons why I can remember combos so well. Because I'm very much like a visual learner, so that's how I memorize combos, is I just imagine the cards going into the particular zones I always put them into. And then that helps me find out. Like, if you ever see me suddenly like wave my cursor around the zones, that's like me trying to like figure out where everything's gonna go. Oh, you guys stealing, look at the sleeves. Yeah, it's funny, I feel like lately I've been running into more people who, like, are actually using the deck their sleeves represent, and it's, like, not a misdirect. Like, whenever I see someone on, like, the Cybers board and the Singularity sleeves, and they're actually playing Mathmech, I'm like, oh, here's Johnny Mathmech being like, oh boy, I can't wait to put on all my Cybers accessories. Which I don't know why, it's like the dumbest thing to like, like, I don't know, it's just funny. Use the Slifer protectors, but the Leela ones, The Slifer ones, like, they look okay. Dragon Maid sleeves for my Rescue Ace deck. It's kind of funny, like, I remember, when Tier Lament came out, before, like, Tier Limit came out, rather, I would use the water board sometimes, right? But then after but then after Tier Limit came out, even after that, I didn't, or I stopped using the water board even on non-Tier Limit decks. Also, I held that cross out just in case it was Nibiru, which looks like it wasn't. Halloween is over? No, it's not. What are you talking about? Halloween's never over. So it is Dragon Link. Send special, increase level by 1. That's fine. I might super fact in response to that, actually. Actually, there's no need to do that, right? Is that greedy? Probably is. But I'm gonna hold off anyway. Okay. Wait, what? What? End phase? Question mark? Okay, here's the Saranir. We knew that was coming. That's fine. Good talk? Welcome back, everybody. So yeah, I was a little confused when my opponent summoned the Red Eyes and then moved to end phase. I knew the Saranir was going to come down, but I'm like, let's just force it, you know? Yeah, I don't have a second Alimbertian in my extra deck. So, that's fine. We'll just super fact for a couple of bodies. Okay. Oh, I actually... that's fine. I was going to say, like... Technically, I think it might have been right to Singularity bounce during my opponent's end phase on the Red Eyes and then bounce again. It doesn't really matter. Oh, I also should have activated this, but I'll just do that now. But I feel like my opponent like threw me off with their weird plays. I'll just send Multiplication. Bounce you. And you. Go for it. How expensive is this deck? Let me actually look at the list again. Oh, I had 8,000 attack. I could have finished with Singularity. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. How many URs do I really play outside of like Mathmech stuff? It's mostly just staples. I think it's mostly just staples in general. Like the Signet minings are obviously in the structure decks. The only main deck URs that aren't staples or Signet mining are circulars. For the extra deck, it's D-Save Warren, Alimbertion, Almirage if you don't. I consider Almirage a staple. Link Decoder, Heat Souls in the structure deck, so access code's kind of a staple, Singularity. So you're looking at like, if you count Almirage and access code as staples / have those already, you're looking at what is that, 7 URs? It's not very expensive at all. I will definitely be working on Zoo. You can definitely be sure of that. How many games do I have so far? 3? Okay, we'll keep playing. Almirage and Access are staples. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's, yeah. I generally consider them staples as well. Ooh, we're both on our rank up game. Oh wait, they're in Platinum 1. Wow, they grinded up. They're already almost a diamond. We're each other's final. I love it. I love games where you're each other's final boss for whatever rank, but we're their final boss for Plat. That's kind of a big deal. They're just my final boss for Diamond 5. But I'm their final boss for all of Plat. Hilda with the Hungry Burger icon. Love it. How does everyone feel about Plunder Patrol? It's a really cool deck. It's like kind of hurt by Fountain going to 1, but you can also just play Plunder Lab. I only know that because of Toadette, by the way. Moye! Everyone, you all have the copy paste this saved, right? Y'all have it. Plunder Lab, Adventure Lab. Yeah, it's cool. Generally, and again, I only know this because of Toadette. But it's best to pair Plunder with another engine / deck that's good Ash bait. Poor Hilda. We had Valor and Ash Blossom for the thrust, too. So they have... Okay. Oh my god, that's disgusting. That's a disgusting top deck. What the fuck? Usual Mathmech hand. Custom Mathmech hand. Judge! Judge! My opponent has a custom hand. Okay. Oh! Oh! Oh, Hilda. Oh, Hilda. Oh, that's good. I want to see their build. Because if they laddered... Honestly, though, if they laddered up all the way up Platinum this fast, like, they're either on a pretty good build or they are dedicated to the grind. They're playing 46 cards. That's a lot. That's a lot of cards to be playing. I feel like we could cut the Kurikaras and, like, the Duster and, like, one of the Desires. I think there's 42, right? Oh, and Droplets is kind of... Yeah, and Sword Soul. I mean, that's 6 cards right there. But, I mean, you know, you don't have to play 40. 46 is kind of a lot with Sword Soul, I think. But it's not the worst you could be doing. I mean, obviously, again... They're either having a very, very good win rate session with it, or they are playing, like, non-stop for the last 24 hours. Not about non-stop, but have been playing a lot the last 24 hours to climb all the way up Platinum, which I think is still... Is it still 4 games per win in Platinum to, like, rank up? I'm pretty sure it is. Well, this is a hand. It is? Okay. Okay, Wave Joel, it's fine. Never mind. Actually, is Joel gonna be an issue for us? We can still make terahertz at the very least, and we'll do that. Adding doesn't exist. You don't need it. Yeah, we'll just make terahertz. Firewall Guardian if. We're not making Alimbertion here. We're not making Alimbertion here. I'm just reminding myself right now, because I know if I go on autopilot, I'll make it. Too bad we don't have like a third floor and we could like sneak in a location. We can almost make Singularity plus terahertz here. We're actually only one body off. Oh, and if we didn't open Dotscaper, we wouldn't actually even be one body off. Right? Like transcode, blah, blah, blah. No, we're still, no, we're missing the Alimbertion still. Never mind, JK. Is this still... Oh, you know what? If we had Dotscaper in deck, I think this would be terahertz plus Heat Soul. Maybe it still is? Hang on. I don't think it is. No, it's not. If Dotscaper was in the deck, it would be. Not that we would get to draw this turn, but we could still draw on our opponent's turn. And we'd still have, like, the body, you know? I actually didn't need this Link Decoder in the grand scheme of things. What if I just kept Lingaribo? Like, what if I brought back Lingaribo and then just, like, made terahertz with these three and had an extra trap negate? That's kind of cute. Let's do that. Sure, why not? No, I should still put it over here. Just in case it's Ignister. It doesn't like super matter, but it might. It might matter. There's like a chance it could matter. Like even a decent chance like it too. Alright. Okay. That wasn't bad. That's definitely better than just like stopping under Maxi, you know? It's obviously not a full combo, but... This is post-ban list. I don't know if I made that clear, actually, but this is a post-ban list build. I definitely do not want to use any of these effects on the field spell. Because we can aggregator, like, my friend, and then we can desave an important quick play. We could even just desave the... I don't know if we should desave the first quick play. We could also aggregator... the Per Lily as well. Let me chain this. Let's see what they do. Chain Pretty Memory. Field spells only... Oh, yeah, no, you're right. I can't aggregator the Per Lily. You're right, because of the straight Per Lily Street. Okay, so we would have to aggregator the My Friend. Which I think is fine. And then maybe we just desave this Pretty Memory. Because the other option would be... We have to, like... no, yeah, we can't aggregator the monster at all. So we desave this and then aggregator the My Friend because we can't. We always aggregator the My Friend because we can't aggregator the Per Lily. So I think we do desave this. Okay, they don't have another quick play spell, which is a good sign. I was really hoping they wouldn't. Discarding Droll. Looks like Dotscaper is going to be plays by itself next turn. Oh, we have Sigma too. That's neat. This is fine. This is only special summon to Pearly monsters I can target. I cannot target, yes. Okay. Card is added, yep. Did they draw Droll as a 6th card? Anima! Okay, fuck. We gotta negate that. That sucks. That's a good play. That's a great play. That's a fantastic play on my opponent's part. This is why you play Relinquished Anima. This is why this card is good. Because now I have to do this. Great play. Honestly, phenomenal play from my opponent here. Any other decks you want to build post-ban list? I was going to play Lab, but I think I might actually save Lab for bringing another expert on. Discarding Droll was, I think, definitely the discard here, just seeing how the rest of their hand has been shaping out so far. Well, actually, I don't know how the rest of their hand has been shaping out so far. We haven't seen it yet. They've only been... That would be... I think that would be why. Okay, that explains it. Also, Valor. We played 2 and I was hoping to draw at least one of them before this Per Lily came out. But... we could still draw Valor off this summon. We're going to need to, though. Oh, wait, no, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not going to have to do anything. Even if this is delicious, this is not an OTK. The field spell, remember? No, we don't have to. We don't target. This is a continuous effect. Oh, they didn't have delicious anyway. Okay. Ha 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 ha! Get negated, loser! Yeah! Oh, with Valor. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely correct. That was good. I'm gonna keep playing. I was gonna just go until I got 4 games, but I'm having fun. I'm having fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! What the fuck? Have you seen April's channel? Have I? I don't know. I don't know if I have off the top of my head. Well, that's a hand. It's not a very good one, actually. I mean, it's fine. It's not bad. It's circular plus Ash Blossom. Can't complain about that. So sad right now. Game I just played through Super Factorial plus Terrors plus Ash plus Bell with only engine for them to reveal the last card was Nib and they drew a name off the top. No! God damn, they had everything. Did they peel circular? Mathmech players are really good at that. I can't tell you how many times I just rip circular off the top of my deck. It's kind of stupid, honestly. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm like, why did I just top deck this? I had no business winning this game, and now I just do. April's a goat. I'll have to check them out. They opened circular plus Exceed. Oh my god. Ooh, okay. This is actually fine because we have the Dotscaper. And then we can just send the diameter off of terahertz. May I ask what you replaced for the second diameter? I didn't replace anything, per se. Like, I've talked about this kind of before recently, actually, which is fine. I actually really like talking about this. The way I deck build is I don't, like, sub cards out one for one. When the new ban list came, I rebuilt all of my decks. I just rebuilt them. Actually, do I need Link Decoder here? Hang on, let me think about this for a second. Decoder, Transcode, Splash Mage, Decoder, Singularity. No, I'm still one body short. It's kind of wild I'm only one body short of doing a full combo. So I don't actually need to go into Link Decoder right now. But, so I just built the deck from scratch. Hey, Morgana, what's up? Speaking of cool streamers slash content creators, hope you are doing well. Did you rebuild zombies? I haven't in a minute. That'd be a fun deck to rebuild, though. Ooh, especially with Ringo War, maybe we can do some shit. Are there any cool zombie cards that make tokens? That'd be a fun thing to cook with Ringo Worm. You just finished streaming? Right on. Hope you had a great stream. I misclicked! I misclicked! I misclicked! I misclicked! I've never done that before. I misclicked. I sent Heat Soul. I'm unrateable? Why am I unrateable? I'm not unrateable. Am I? No, am I? Hang on, that would be not cool if I was. It wouldn't let me raid you? I'll have to look at my settings. I can't believe I misclicked on the fucking terror. No! No! Fuck off! Fuck you! Get back in the hand! I don't want to see your stupid, dumb face. I'll have to look at my settings. I know Twitch can I feel like Twitch has like been fucking with my settings behind my back. They definitely have for ads, which I forgot to undo that. But I'm gonna have to go into my settings and make sure I'm not like... Yeah, I don't know. But I appreciate you dropping by, Morgana. I'm gonna actually give you... Hang on. Oh, fuck. I always forget the shout-out command because I'm dumb. That's right, it's hash. That's right, it's slash. Let me just make sure I spelled it right. Yee, there we go. Wait, what are they? Oh my god, I missed a lot. I looked up and I saw Unicorn and Moye summoning a token. Get back in the hand. Fuck Gamma. Fuck that stupid ass card. Also, I was supposed to send Diameter. That's why I can't Super Factorial. I was totally distracted just chatting there. I guess at least we have Nibiru. And Circular in hand. Okay, they haven't used the... Yeah, they haven't used the look at my hand effect yet. They probably know I have Nib, I don't care. I'm not gonna toggle. They've already seen it. Disappeared, I don't know why that's funny to me. Okay, they had an emergence. Well, this game was thrown. You're running Crystal Heart? E. We are running the Crystal... I love Crystal Heart. Okay, we Nib after this token comes down. Whee! Crystal Heart is such a good card. I have won, like, more than a handful of games through its secret effect. Also, fun fact about Crystal Heart that a lot of people actually don't know. You do not have to have the counter to get the full effect. The counter only gives 600 attack points. Because it says, Earth monsters calling to this card gain 600 attack points for each G counter on this card, comma, can make a second attack, and then also they do piercing. That, yeah. A lot of people assume you need to have the counter on it, but you actually don't. I have Sigma in the yard, right? Okay. Let's activate Circular first. Yeah, I'll keep Diameter in the deck. We could still summon it. I love English and how confusing it is. It's actually, yeah, it has come up for me where, like, I make the G-Golem while I have Terahertz on the field, but my opponent has, like, banished my transcode or something, so, like, I didn't have a target to bring it back. And I was like, oh no, am I gonna not get the piercing and the double attack because of no counter? But then I read it and I was like, I'm pretty sure I get it. And then I went through the battle phase and it worked. So yeah, fun fact about Daji Golem. Sword Soul is still in the round because of Protos. It's a combination, honestly. Like, the deck is still solid. It's like a combination of Protos and, like, their end board is still, like, it's still good enough most of the time. Like, even, like, a lot of people will, like, joke, like, lol ending on Chi Xiao Baron, but, like, even that by itself is, like, that's something. You still gotta think about what you're doing playing through that, you know? And they usually have Blackout and or Protos in addition to that. And if they have all four, that's a really, really good end board. Dark Lord Despia? That's a cool deck. I haven't played it. I don't have Dark Lord stuff, so I haven't played it, but I've played against it. The Dark Lord Fusion, like Lucifer, what is his name? Something like that. It's a good card. It's a cool card. What do you have, opponent? Is it Imperm? Is it Ash Blossom? It's not Gamma. I know you have a Gamma, but you can't activate it. The first Dark Lord, that one. I think it's called Lucifer in the OCG. To be Econ. Econ would actually be devastating. Econ would be the literal best thing it could be. Oh, it's called by. Okay. Oh, negating the circular in my yard. Yeah, that's fine. Konami's like, we can't have Satan anyway. He used 10 million Satan cards. We can't even have Hades. They called him Hades. Oh, that's right. We don't play 2 Alan Bershin, which is fine. We just go for Ling, so that way we can make the Parallel Exceed. Yeah. We'll do it that way. Oh, you know what? But we don't have Diameter in the yard. Dang. Okay, that's fine. I was gonna say we could even make Laplacian, but that would also open us up to Gamma, and without the negate, it's not worth. I wish more people played Econ. Econ's one of those cards that's, like, almost good enough to, like, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Still be playable, despite being a really old card. Book of Moon is kind of, like, on the other side of that line. Oh, I don't have Transcode anymore. This is fine. This is effect monsters, right? Yeah, so we can still... they have Gamma, but this is fine. Because I won't activate after I pop the last card. And they can't activate in response to access code. And again, we're not going to activate after the last monster's gone anyway. Sure, the Heat Soul that I accidentally sent. Yeah, fuck you, Gamma. Fuck you, Gamma. Stupid ass card, dumbass grin on his face. Fuck out of here. Econ gets you out of monster locks and steals are good. Now activate access code again. You're evil, Toadette. You can be anyway. Ass code. I also just realized it was ass code. Speaking of evil, let's let's rank this person down. Whew, this is a good hand. This is a great hand. You know what? This is a fine hand. Oh, they have Maxi. Okay. Is this hand good under a Maxi? Probably not. Whatever. I'm gonna activate Circular anyway. Yeah, Maxi, exactly. No, they have it. There's no way they don't. They don't? Okay. Good talk. What was it? What do they have? What was their hand? What was in their hand? Hold on. What were you playing? What the? Ah, they're only playing 2 maxi. Okay, this is a deck. Solemn Judgment's interesting. 1 Imperm. 1 Imperm, 2 maxi, but 2 Solemn Judgment. Okay. Wait. And also, like, hang on. Don't play this card. This card's not good. Don't play it. People talk like Spheres is FTK. Mathmech Circular has ended 2 games by itself. Literally by itself. Wait, which one's 173? Somebody look that up. I love SCP. Hang on, I can look that up. Oh, it's the one. Okay, yeah. Well, that's boring. Boo. Pick a don't pick the one that everybody knows. The one that's a ripoff of the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. What's SCP? Oh my god, I feel like that Aladdin song, like, I can show you a world. SCP, if you're into, like, creepy, like, internet, like, copy paste, or, like, creepypastas, it's like that, but, like, a lot better. How can I, like, I don't feel like I can succinctly explain. Well, okay, maybe I can. SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. It's about a quote-unquote fictional government organization that may or may not exist, quote-unquote, that harbors, like, that basically protects the world from all manner of, like, weird monsters slash phenomenon. Some are really benign, some are, like, world-ending. Some are, like, cognito hazards, which means just knowing about their existence means that they are a threat to you. It's fun. It's a lot of fun reads. My favorite one is the IKEA. I don't remember what number. I'm horrible about remembering what number every one of them is, but yeah, we're talking about SCP because of our opponent's name, but they picked the one. 3008? Which one's that? Retail park containing... The IKEA! I was literally just... The IKEA! Yes! It's my favorite. They picked the peanut-looking man. I've heard about those Project Moon games. Alright, Nova Rise Heart's pretty good. Right on time, Droll and Lockbird. Right on time. Okay, you know what? Maybe that is actually right on time. SCP number 39, Utopia. That's good. That's good. I like that a lot. I think we can still... Hang on. I'm trying to figure out if I really need to search here. I don't really think I do at all, actually. Like, I think I'm gonna draw unlock this Max C draw. Do I need to, actually? Tokyo Enigma, thank you very much for the follow. Actually, I can say that in a second here, too. Tokyo Enigma, thank you very much for the follow. And welcome back, everybody who is viewing the ads. Okay, this is a decision point. Do I draw unlock here? Do I need to search? Actually, I'm not going to draw unlock. Oh, but they're Fenriring. What do they target with Fenrir? I imagine it was diameter, right? Yeah, okay. Ling, parallel, update. Okay, that actually doesn't involve searching, so I'm going to draw here. I really liked SCP number 39, Utopia. Never been much of a horror person. I don't really like... Here's the thing. When I tell people I like horror, sometimes people... They took Allenbush, and that's so fine. Are you kidding me? I wasn't even going to summon it. Some people just kind of assume that I mean, like, slasher films, and I'm definitely not a fan of movies like that. I actually don't really like super excessive blood and guts most of the time. It just makes me a little squeamish, but I don't know. I really like shit like Well, I'm trying to think of what it was called. Marble Hornets. When that came out, oh my god. When Marble Hornets came out, because for a long time growing up, I thought I didn't like horror in general, because I didn't like slasher films. The zone luck probably matters here, honestly. But we'll see. I thought I didn't like horror films, period, because I didn't like slasher films. And then I realized, like, oh, wait. I watched Marble Hornets, and I was like, oh, yeah. Horror can be cool. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Marble Hornets was, like, the original ARG. Okay, let me think about this for a second. Yeah, because we can't put something in transcode zone. I mean, we could still make access code. Like, okay, if we go, like, parallel, splash mage, bring back a parallel, and then, we can't even, wow, they blocked the exact right 2 zones. So we can't even if we put transcode right here, it still doesn't summon anything. So I think we have to go parallel, splash mage, bring back parallel. Oh, we could go into link decoder as well and make terahertz. That's probably better, actually, than access code here. Oh, let me think about this for a second. No, I can't make link decoder splash mage because I want to have a zone to point to, and I can't put it here. Wait, I can. No, I can. I can go link decoder splash mage, bring something back. Hang on a second. This uses the Lingereber as a material, though. Splash Mage. Bring back whatever. Hang on. Let's keep playing this out. I'm going to use Lingereber as a material. If they have Imperm, I think we can still make access code, so there's that. No, don't do that, don't do that. We enjoyed the Horrors A24 have been making. It is Imperm, damn it. Yeah, those have been some pretty good films. They didn't make this one, but I know this was kind of like a dynamic, not dynamic, is that the word I'm looking for? Divisive film, horror film from last year was Skinamarink. I liked Skinamarink. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't, and I can understand why you wouldn't, but I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. Okay, no draw because of the droll, but we can still make access code. Oh, but we can't get rid of the era, which is really annoying. It's really irritating. I do have a guide. I have a couple of guides, actually, on the channel. I have one that covers... You want to look for the one that's like the 5 most important Mathmech combos to know, I think is what I called it. It'll cover all the new lines. It's fine post-ban list, because that doesn't change any of the lines, so... I would recommend looking at that one. Econ would go crazy here. Oh, we're gonna pop the birth, too. Draw circular or bust. So, there's a good amount of games where it is that way, you know. It just does end up playing out that way. And then they detach. Yep. Yeah, we should have kept Lingereber up. But could we have made terahertz with Lingereber up? I don't remember what the board... I don't think we could, actually. No, we would have to make access code still. I think we ended up, like... I would have liked to have made a terahertz, but I think we end up making access code either way. Because we can't use the Lingaribo if we're going to hold it, obviously, for the Imperm, so... Yeah, this does still feel like a total lose, unfortunately. I mean, it's... Yeah, with the additional zone blocking they're going to do, it will be. Yeah, I don't think there's really any way around this. But I'll make them play it out a little bit, at least. Maybe after this game, we'll take a look at the Twitter thread. Because we still need to do that. I'm really interested in just diving into all the replies and seeing what people said. Obviously, I've been reading them as they've been coming in, but like... Twitter... obviously, yeah, I've been reading the replies as they've been coming in. I've been trying to like everyone who's been responding too. Except if people only list deck names. I didn't like those replies because I specifically stated in the prompt, do not list examples, define it. I like how no one calls it X. Yeah, because it's almost like it's almost like it's a really stupid name. Hey, thank you for the follow, TGM. Hope you are doing well. I'm pretty sure it's only called X because he owns X.com, right? Like he owns that, Elon Musk owns that domain. Yeah, exactly. He's been trying to name something X since PayPal because he owns X.com. Well, I mean, I'm sure among other reasons too. He might just like it, but I know that's a domain he's been like trying to push multiple times, as again with PayPal. He bought it out. Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I think he's trying to get his money's worth on getting that domain. Wait, why did you banish? Can you still OTK? Do you have enough damage? Oh yeah, they do. They're just being cute. They're just being cute. But you know what? I'm not going to concede because I think I have a destroy a card mission and I destroyed a bunch of cards with access code. Oh, Big Eye can't attack. You're right. They don't have game. They have a Rise Heart, though. I mean, it's pretty much game. Ah, you mean I have to sit through another turn? Okay, hopefully they just move to battle phase. Why are you taking the worst options? What are you doing? They took Laplation and Alimbertion. I mean, those aren't, like, the worst. Like, I guess you could take, like, Almirage or Aggregator, but they hate Xyz. Apparently. They don't want me to Xyz, I guess. Damn, this would act. Wait, hang on. There's no shot. There's no shot. Oh no, wait, I was supposed to normal summon this for plays. Yeah, damn, I was supposed to normal summon this. And then Almirage, and then... Well, this doesn't summon another copy, though, because this is my third copy. Yeah. But that still lets me go into Crystal Heart, which doesn't because they a Rise Heart effect. Well, they're using a Rise Heart's effect right now, actually. Yeah. I mean, I was never going to win anyway. But, like, there was a second where I kind of thought, maybe. You should just take the update jammer? Like, I don't even have access code left. What are you doing? You're supposed to take this one. This one right here. This is like my best card. And take Aggregator, I know, right? I know the mandatory effects take up so much time. Stop! Just fucking... Alright. Good talk. Good one. Alright. Let's do a Twitter thread now. Because I think we have like 5 games at least, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, we got enough duels for a Mathmech deck profile. Let me go over to Twitter and full screen. And beep, 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 go to this. Screen capture. This one. Alright. Okay. Cool. The quest, it's fine. It's fine. I wasn't gonna sit and wait. So this, by the way, I'm not like one for one doing the same thing MBT does here, by the way. That human hand. I'm glad you like it. I was gonna draw a pixel hand with a microphone, but I was like, I'm not gonna be interested in this idea by the time I'm done with that, so fuck it. I'm just gonna Photoshop a human hand on. But I'm not just like one for one doing this the exact same way MBT does, by the way. I want to make this video be a little bit more like a TED Talk. Like when I say I was doing research, I kind of meant it in that regard. Like I wanted to field opinions on what, okay, you like the human hand. I kind of like it too, to be honest. I think it's funny. But I wanted to field, I mean, especially for a topic like this, right? This is actually something I've thought about quite a lot as people bring it up. Okay, this is also something I want to point out about the term mid-range in Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. So I played the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG from 2004, when Pharaoh's Servant came out, until 2016. And I didn't remember during that time anybody ever calling a deck mid-range, like ever. And it's not that I didn't pick up on the term, because I played Magic like in that time. I've been playing Magic since like 2011. So, yeah, I think it's a fairly recent thing. At least it is to me. I haven't seen it. Again, I didn't see it at all playing the TCG from the beginning of the game till 2016. And I kind of feel like we're almost just like, I don't know. Let's just see what people. Okay, actually, you know what? First, I wanna set the bar here a little bit, right? Because mid-range is a very defined term in a game like Magic: The Gathering. So let's actually start by seeing how the game that coined the term mid-range defines it, and let's see how applicable this ends up being to Yu-Gi-Oh! Mid-range decks are aggressive decks that flip the standard aggro control deck archetype by attempting to control the early game, then closing the game with efficient creatures in the mid to late game. Mid-range typically features few creatures, and the 1 to 2 CMC stands for converted mana cost. That just means the total mana cost of all the symbols on a Magic card. Typically features few creatures in the 1 to 2 converted mana cost range, and instead tries to win with high impact creatures or planeswalkers in the 3 to 6 mana range, while casting strong interaction spells in the early game. Mid-range decks are favored against aggro decks with powerful creatures and its interaction active, and also tends to have the most impactful sideboards in any given format. The rest of this is going to go into colors and planeswalkers, so we're not going to concern ourselves with that. But honestly, like right off the bat, a lot of this definition is not applicable. Obviously, we throw out everything that has to do with CMC. That doesn't matter at all to Yu-Gi-Oh! Wait, you've been playing this game for 20 years? Yeah, I've been playing the TCG. Like, the only time I didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Was from 2016. I say only time, it's like 6 years. From like 2016 until when Master Duel came out. Because I didn't want to play under Master Duel 4. And then I didn't want to spend money or go into events while COVID was a thing, etc., etc., so. But even like, okay, the aggro control deck dynamic here, right? So, I think the whole definition ends up not being applicable because I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has an aggro equivalent. Like, when you think of an aggro deck in Magic, that's like red deck wins, right? That's just a deck that's trying to win as fast as possible, which is like kind of what every single Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck does, but they don't do it in the same way that aggro does. I've seen some people say that, like, oh, Numeron is aggro, 8-axis going second deck is aggro. That's, like, the only one where I'm like, maybe 8-axis going second is an aggro deck, but, like, I kind of think those are still just OTK decks, right? Like, aggro control kind of sounds like combo control. Kind of, because here's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to really discern here, right? Is the definition actually applicable, or are Yu-Gi-Oh players just lifting the Magic definition and trying to make it work for Yu-Gi-Oh? If we can even come to the consensus of that's what mid-range means, because when we see these Twitter replies, there are a lot of people who said different things than I thought they were gonna say. Like, it's funny, the first hour of replies I was getting in, they were kind of all like lining up with each other, and I was like, okay, maybe we can actually come to a consensus. But after that, I was kind of like, nah, okay, people were saying different things now. Trap Tricks, I think Trap Tricks is a control. Well, control is also kind of interesting to try to define in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Because there's a lot of people who say, oh, control decks are trap decks. I disagree with this notion. I think I think Labyrinth and Trap Tricks are control decks. I think a lot of trap decks are control decks, but I don't think only trap decks are control decks. Like, I think Sky Striker is probably a control deck, and that very much is not a trap deck. We're on the mid-range rant. We have a whole Twitter thread about it. I'm going to make a whole video about it, too. And the Twitter thread is going to explore why I'm validated in my ranting, because we don't have a consensus on what mid-range means, by the way. I want to look at Hearthstone's definition as well. By the way, I want to point this out, too. You know, when you Google games like Hearthstone and Magic, you get, like, their game's respective wiki definition for mid-range, right? Like, it's a pretty clear, objective definition that, yeah, it falls between aggro and control, seeking to attain victory during the mid-game. Mid-range decks generally try to control the board during the early game before moving into an aggressive role mid-game with mid-medium cost minions and spells with the goal of winning before the late game. Mid-range decks focus on cards with overall good value, efficient trading, top decking, and card advantage. There's actually something I was looking for here, a sentence in particular. Here we go. This sentence, I think, is very true of both Hearthstone and Magic's mid-range decks, and why their mid-range definition cannot apply to Yu-Gi-Oh! Typically, mid-range decks are built on the theory that every single card in the deck has greater soul value than any card in the opponent's deck. It actually goes on to list a pretty good example would be the card Sludge Belcher. Sludge Belcher is a... hang on. Sludge Belcher is a 5-cost minion. It blocks. It makes another minion that can also block when it dies. This card, by itself, in a vacuum, is good. This is not how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played in even the slightest regard. Not even a little bit. The only, like, off the top of my head, there are some cards like Cashier of Fenrir that would fit a definition like this, where they're just independently good and do not need other cards to be good. But Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole, this concept does not apply. And this is the concept by which Hearthstone, Magic, and other games' mid-range decks are built. That every individual card is independently, without anything else, better than any opponent's individual card as well. I've always complained the definition of combo control mid-range. I've argued that some people for hours about here is combo. Thoughts, iterations are not control. We always end on, what is the definition? The definition of mid-range sounds like D-Link, which is not mid-range. Exactly. What are Pokemon TCG comparisons? So funnily enough, because I have looked this up too, if you Google Pokemon TCG mid-range, you don't really get results because their game is like, look at this, top result, aggro mid-range control. Wait, this isn't Magic. Like, literally the top result is an article that, like, it does attempt to define the Pokemon TCG archetypes or decks from 2018 within the Magic archetypes, but it very much is upfront about saying this isn't Magic. And if you go through other results, you'll see that, like, you know, mid-range deck, it's like the next thread is like a Reddit thread asking about like mid-range deck, you know, and it's got like one up. The thing is, like, Pokemon players don't even entertain the concept of mid-range because it's not applicable to their game, which Yu-Gi-Oh players do not do. And it's funny because when you Google Yu-Gi-Oh mid-range, right, again, very similar to Pokemon results. The first thing you get are Reddit threads asking, so what is mid-range in this game anyway? Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck has this article about deck types. I don't like this article in the slightest. I actually did read this for my research. This tries to apply terms like, where is it, ramp? It's trying to say there's ramp decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, which, like, what? Like, I don't know. It's just, this is trying too hard, I think, to apply Magic terms to Yu-Gi-Oh. I would never call a Yu-Gi-Oh deck ramp, because ramp is all about, like, it's all about, like, ramping up your mana and cheating out big things, which, like, I don't really see how that's what Dark Magician or, like, I mean, maybe I kind of see Lightsworn, maybe what they're talking about a little bit, but, like, I don't know, or engine-based? It's like, it's just trying to apply a concept that is not at all what ramp in other games is about. And I think that's the problem. We're trying to lift terms one for one, and you can't do that. You just can't do that in this game, right? So, Time-Tearing Morganite is a ramp spell. But they're all combo, just not as much. Yeah, let me take a sip of water here, and then we'll start looking at these Twitter replies. Again, I've been reading them as they come in, but I've not actually sat down and, like, gone through the replies, right? We'll come to this follow-up question that I had later. This I was mostly just kind of curious, because I was thinking about current decks in Master Duel, and I was like, I was really curious what people said about Mathmech, Branded, and Pearly. Especially Pearly, I had a feeling that this would fall under a lot of people's definitions of mid-range, but they would say it's not mid-range, which I actually kind of end up being correct. But anyway, excuse me. So, MBT says mid-range is a term that means bad combo deck. I think this is how a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players end up using the term mid-range. Like, this is obviously just kind of like a meme response, which, you know, what else would we expect from MBT? But I think this is how a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players use the term. And one thing that you're going to find moving forward is there are a ton of responses who say, oh, a mid-range is like a tier 2 or lower deck. Or like, oh, a mid-range deck is one that isn't tiered. And when I started getting in those responses, then I was like, okay, we have no idea what we're talking about. So, but I do think a lot of people just straight up use mid-range to mean a bad combo deck. Whether bad means like not good in that particular meta, whether bad means it doesn't make as many, why won't Twitter load? Whether bad means like it won't make, oh my god, are you kidding me? Here we go. Whether bad means it doesn't make as many monsters, you know? Midrange for me has always been a combo deck that is either bad or can end the combo early and still have interrupts. But the problem is, like, we can't have an archetype of decks and just be like, oh, that's decks that are bad, right? I'm going to go back to something I was on about last week, which is objective versus subjective. But I really mean it here, because again, look at Magic Wiki, right? Look at, where is Hearthstone, or hang on. Look at, like, Hearthstone Wiki's definitions. These games have actual objective definitions of what a mid-range deck is that doesn't have anything to do with the tier list or, like, a card's quality. It doesn't have to do with a subjective opinion about where a deck is in the meta at all. This is, like, very objectively based. Now, of course, there's still opinions of what makes an aggro deck, what makes a control deck, but, like, this is a far more concise and agreed upon opinion as opposed to what we have in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? We do have an archetype of decks we call bad. They're called rogue. See, that's the thing. I don't even think rogue decks are bad. Like, that's actually another term that I think most people generally can't agree on, right? Tier Ishizu was mid-range. I don't see... I don't know. Like, that's... I did see a number of people saying tier limit is mid-range, but, like... I think it's definitely more combo. Like, okay, that's the other thing. And one thing I kind of wish I would have asked is, like, so what is the difference to people between mid-range and combo? I think that's where the main hang-up ends up being, right? There's a very arbitrary line between the two. It is an extremely arbitrary line that varies from person to person. Hardly Joe actually had a very in-depth response. Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks are generally defined by their win condition. While a dozen distinct win conditions exist, modern decks generally fall into three main categories: control, which prevents the opponent from playing by setting up several disruptions; aggro, which ends the game quickly via mass removal and high attack monsters; advantage, which seeks to out-resource the opponent over several turns. A mid-range deck is one that attempts to do all three of those but doesn't excel in any one area. So I also just want to point this out too. I don't think Hardly Joe is saying these are the only three kinds of decks plus mid-range, because he talks about being a dozen distinct ones. Like, there's no mention of OTKing here, so I don't think he's trying to say these are the only Yu-Gi-Oh decks and then also mid-range. Midrange deck is one that attempts to do all three of those, but doesn't excel in any one area. Oftentimes, midrange decks will have access to 1 or 2 disruptions, some kind of removal, and a resource engine that allows them to recycle and reuse these tools on their own. They never put up enough negates to lock out the opponent completely, nor will they have enough power to OTK, but through decent amounts of both, they can win the course over 3 or 4 turns. So I think one of the kind of hangups I have about this definition in particular is this line at the bottom about not having enough power to OTK. I am struggling to think of many Yu-Gi-Oh decks that would generally fit under most people's definition of midrange that don't OTK. Like, one of the reasons I said in my prompt, define it, don't list examples, is because every other time I've asked this question, people were just like, Sword Soul. Sword Soul's a midrange deck. Sword Soul's, and that's all people would say, and I'm like, I could not get people to say more than just Sword Soul, and I'm like, that's why I said in my prompt, define it. But Sword Soul definitely OTKs. People have said Sky Striker is a midrange deck, Sky Striker OTKs. People in my example said Branded was a midrange deck, Branded OTKs. Pearly is a midrange deck, Pearly OTKs. We know Mathmech OTKs. Like 85% of decks, Yu-Gi-Oh decks OTK. Exactly, and I think the ones that don't OTK are the control decks, like Labyrinth. Vanquish Soul can OTK, but I know it doesn't always. I view Vanquish Soul as more of a control deck. Control, by the way, for me, like a lot of people define Control as trap decks, but for me, Control is a deck, any deck that benefits from the game going on long, typically because they gain advantage over a long period of time. That's a lot of trap decks like Labyrinth, like Trap Tricks. It's also like Sky Striker plays that way a lot of the time. Vanquish Soul tends to play that way. So I think there could possibly be more control decks besides just trap decks. That's how I've always thought of control decks. Because again, typically in other card games, control decks are, again, decks that benefit from the game going on longer. Most Yu-Gi-Oh decks want the game to be short. Most Yu-Gi-Oh decks want to literally OTK and win on the first turn they can attack, right? Trap Tricks can OTK. Yeah, I'm not saying a control deck can never OTK. Sky Striker can OTK as well. So the D-Link would be combo because the main objective is to be able to build a board through their many interruptions. The deck can put up versus tier, which puts up a simpler board and gains more advantage through. So like, if the definition is what the end board is, why is Sword Soul a mid-range deck and not? Because you're saying they have fewer disrupts, but Dragon Link has few disrupts. Dragon Link ends on about as many disrupts as Sword Soul and Tearlament do. They end on, most of the time, they end on Borreload, they end on Borrelend, and they might also end on IP. And that's about as much as Sword Soul puts out. They might have extra stuff, but so might Sword Soul, you know? So like, I think if we go by the definition of an end board, wouldn't Dragon Link also be mid-range? Like, that's kind of why I don't jive with the end board definition. That's why, spoiler alert for the end of my thesis, that's why I don't think mid-range is an applicable term in Yu-Gi-Oh, period. Mid-range is a vibe. It's not a definition like it is in other games. But, you know, it's like, why can't we call decks in multiple categories? I mean, I think we can. Like, mid-range is a vibe. It is. I think it is, honestly. I think, too, a lot of people are getting very, very specific in what a mid-range deck does. Like, I don't, like this sentence here, mid-range decks have access to 1 or 2 disruptions, some amount of removal, a resource engine that they can recycle and reuse. Like, I feel like we're talking about a very, very niche amount of decks when we get this specific, right? So, I don't know. It's like, this is a very well thought out definition. And I definitely agree with Joe that there are far more distinct win cons than there probably are in other card games. Like, I think we either have to accept that 85% of Yu-Gi-Oh decks are combo decks, or we have to really split apart the combo category and try to figure out what all is there. And maybe mid-range is an attempt to do that, and I think it is. And I think there is some, like, there is something to be said about that, but at the same time, we can't come to a consensus. The reason I'm so passionate about this, by the way, is that I want competitive Yu-Gi-Oh to be easier to talk about. One of the reasons I made the channel and started my Discord is that when coming back into Master Duel, it was honestly pretty difficult for me to find like good what I consider to be like quality conversations about Yu-Gi-Oh! That weren't just like fuck whatever the top meta deck is, you know, that weren't r/Master Duel. And r/Master Duel is definitely an extreme of that end of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussions are like, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Twitter really isn't that much better. A lot of the Discords, like the big public ones, are not that much better. If you go in the Master Duel meta channels, you'll still see people who are like very conspiracy brained or like, oh my god, I just lost a flu. Why don't they just ban map already? Like shit like that, you know? So, you know, I think that it's not only just an attitude thing, which is like not a problem I can solve, but I think we can take an attempt to solve the linguistics problem. And one of the problem that I find when talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is people will say, oh, this is a mid-range deck, and they won't elaborate on what they mean, because they have it in their head that mid-range has a defined definition in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it doesn't. It's whatever they think it means. And again, we're going to see more of that, especially as we keep going down. I Wish I Was Dead said, Control is a deck that intends to play purple cards to win Labyrinth. Mid-range intends to use a combination of purple and or quick plays. Monster effects like Sword Soul, Vanquish Soul. Combo is a deck that intends to win 95% off the back of monster effect interaction. Another way to look at it is how you treat face-down cards an opponent might have. Combo, whatever, probably an engine piece. Mid-range, oh fuck that. If that's blackout. Control, I guess I'll die. So, I agree with a lot of this definition, but as I kind of said earlier, I don't think Control is necessarily limited to back row cards. And I think Sky Striker is applicable in like how you treat face down cards, right? Like a lot of Sky Striker back rows like Shark Cannon and Widow Anchor can elicit just as much fear as like Labyrinth's, you know, normal trap cards or Trap Tricks. Also, one thing that I think we can all actually agree on, and we do actually have a good definition for this, is that there is a difference between stun and control. Like, I think stun is... It's funny, and it almost kind of proves my point in a way. Stun is one of the most agreed upon and well-defined Yu-Gi-Oh! Terms, and it's also almost the only unique one we use that we didn't lift from another card game. Which kind of, I think, points to my theory of, hey, we need to be, like, using terms that aren't just lifted from other card games blindly, and, like, think about how they apply, right? The line between stun and control is not as clear as people claim. I think there's some merit to that. Yumi Controlled is actually a great example of that. Yumi Control is definitely the deck where it's like, is this a control or a stun deck? I've been roasted. My intention was not to roast you. I wish I was dead. I do agree with like pretty much the majority of what you say, especially about combo decks. But I do disagree. I think that Vanquish Soul is a control deck. And I think Sky Striker is probably a control deck too. But I think a lot of trap decks are also control decks, which is like... But I don't know, as far as like stun versus control, you know, there's definitely a clear-cut example when somebody is using all of the floodgates like Skill Drain, like Rivalry goes in, there can be only one, all in the same deck. But exactly, what is that line? Is a Labyrinth that is playing one Skill Drain and no other floodgates, is that a stun deck? I would be inclined to say no, personally. But some people will say a single floodgate makes a stun deck. That's also kind of the line with the Kairyu Shin in the Yumi quote-unquote control as well. Although, I don't know, I've also seen those decks play like Gozen and stuff. I think they only play Waters, right? But, I mean, yeah, it's Yumi control. But at the same time, it's like Kairyu Shin is very much an in-archetype card, but it's also definitely got like a floodgate effect. Like, you know, is it stun? Is Wind Barrier in Flu? Another great example. Does that make Flu a stun deck? I don't think it does. I don't think M-Pen is a I don't see M-Pen as like a floodgate card necessarily, which is interesting. I don't know. So it's interesting that I kind of do see Kairyu Shin as more of a floodgate card. Huh. That's a very... See, this is what I mean. It's like, I love dissecting this stuff because it really... It's really fascinating how we talk about card games. I could go on and on about this. I don't know anything about Magic. Are there trap cards in that game? Yes, there are instants. Instants can be played... Not only can instants be played during the opponent's turn, cards with flash. Also, what a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players who have never played Magic don't know about it, the abilities that are on creatures are quick effects in Magic unless they say otherwise. Every ability on every creature is a quick effect unless it says otherwise. A lot of people don't know that, again, if you don't play Magic. So Yes, Magic has a lot of quick interaction effects for sure. Should a factor about how we define a deck be what hand traps they lose to? I don't think so. I think that's like very deck to deck dependent. Let's keep seeing what other people said here. Oh my god. Can I talk about, for real quick, my favorite response in this thread from Cursed Eyes here? I saw this while I was scrolling through Twitter while I was like just lying down, and I laughed my ass off. I love Gold Star, best reply of the thread. Cursed Eyes. Yes, I love this. I love this reply. Evilise had a very in-depth reply. Let's go and take a look at this one. I would say a mid-range deck exists in the space between combo and control while having aspects of both. The ceiling of a mid-range is usually lower than that of a combo, but offers more flexibility and space for non-engine/format relevant generic cards. Where the combo deck relies on going first and winning games quickly, mid-range usually relies on efficiency and interactivity balance between the core combo line, engine, non-engine, to win going first or second. I think you can say something like combo and control try to own the game, mid-range decks try to live in the game. So, 10 out of 10 reply, it really was. So, this ended up being a relatively common sentiment. This first sentence here, that mid-range exists between combo and control while having aspects of both. This was one of the most consistent responses, was this sentiment right here. So, the thing that I wonder, though, is this actually applicable, or are people, and I'm not necessarily saying that people are proactively doing this. In fact, I think it's not only even just a subconscious thing, but just a language thing, because we carried the term over from Magic. Are we just lifting Magic's definition and replacing aggro with combo? I don't think, by the way, that aggro and combo are comparable, just because they're being like replaced in this regard. But I guess really the thing that kind of, I don't know. The thing that I'm kind of confused about with this kind of a response is like, okay, if we're using Sword Soul as an example, I understand that it just doesn't mean much. That's kind of what I'm going to get at, honestly. I understand the sentiment of Sword Soul feeling a little control-y because they have Blackout. But like, how is that different from a combo deck ending on a card that can pop multiple cards? Or like, Mathmech ending on a singular, like, not even Mathmech, take Adagnister. Adagnister has Singularity, which ends on multiple bounces. Is that different from Blackout being a control, like popping multiple cards? No. So why does Blackout seem to most people to be a control card, while Singularity is the result of a combo deck? Is it because Blackout is purple and you know, Singularity is a big link monster? I kind of think that's what it is. Like, call Sword Soul our example of mid-range, since they're often the pick of the mid-range deck. But Sword Soul has no control, but I don't know, Protoss control? It's like, but there are definitely combo decks that end on cards like Protoss. Like, think about all of the Halcdon decks that would end on the Union Carrier, putting on the Buster Dragon card. Like, that is a very floodgate/control type of tool, but people would always classify that as a combo deck. But if a mid-range deck is the combination of a combo and a control deck, why is Halcdon ending on something like that not considered a mid-range deck? We're 100% lifting words and applying personal definitions that don't fit properly in our game. The words are somewhat familiar to many players, therefore you can understand the sentiment they mean. Yeah, I think the ultimate result of my research and what my TED Talk video is going to be is that mid-range is a vibe, not a definition. Sword Soul equals stun. I mean, exactly. It's like, we just don't have good solid definitions. Like, and I think that ends up being, yeah. I mean, I've said that many times, but let's keep looking at replies. King's mid-range decks planned for turns after 3 and 4, but not all the way to turn 25. Like, I don't know. If we're thinking about a deck, again, if we're using Sword Soul as our yardstick, because Sword Soul, I think, is the most commonly used example of a, what is it? A mid-range deck. Jeez, I forgot the word. I've been saying it so much. Does Sword Soul really plan for turn 3 and 4? Well, I mean, every deck plans for turn 3. Are we talking about the deck's third turn, or like the third turn of the game? Because if it's the third turn of the game, literally every deck does, because if you go first, you gotta have a way to OTK on the follow-up turn, right? But if we're talking about the third turn of that deck, I don't think many decks that aren't control decks go 3 of their turns in Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays, right? Like, it's usually a grindy game where both you and your opponent really happen to have a lot of disruption. If you're not on a control plan, you end up going that far. Problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is I think these terms did exist in early Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Midrange, but as soon as links appeared, suddenly every deck could OTK, so aggro OTK stopped existing and everything became blurred. I do agree that Midrange was probably a more applicable term in old Yu-Gi-Oh! But again, like I said earlier, the funny thing about that is, like, again, I played the TCG from the beginning until 2016, and I played competitively, and I was in online spaces, I was on forums, I was going to YCSs and Nationals and WCQs. I went to WCQs when they were still called Nationals. And I never heard somebody called a midrange deck before 2016. I never heard that as a term in Yu-Gi-Oh! Hex an old head. I am an old head, actually. Fun fact, my first WCQ, which again, they were called Nationals, that I went to was in 2007. I went to Nationals/WCQs every year from 2007 to 2014. I didn't top them. I didn't top YCSs or anything, but, like, you know, I would top a few regionals every season. And it's not like I was traveling to every YCS either, mind you, because, like, around this time I was in, like, late high school, early college, so I definitely wasn't doing that, but okay, boomer. Good talk. But no, yeah, I went to my first local, I was very young, mind you, but I went to my first local when Pharaonic Guardian was the newest pack. Like, Pharaonic Guardian was the pack they were handing out, like, for entering. Yeah, that was my first local. I still haven't gone to my first locals. With the modern age of the internet, you don't even have to interact with people. Okay, I don't know why I did that in Hank Hill's voice, but... Let's see, Eileen says midrange in Yu-Gi-Oh! Tends to be defined by its win cons, often using decentralized and various pieces of interruption to survive a couple of turns, while accruing resources to push a weakened board state. So, there were a lot of definitions where some people would use words that I hadn't really seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Use before. I didn't really know what they meant. Like, decentralized. What does the word decentralized mean in this sentence? Decentralized, I guess that's like disrupts that don't lead into one another, like wide boards. I guess that makes sense, okay. And varied, okay, that makes sense. Instead of nor, a D-link end board? Yeah. Okay. This is the other reason why I wanted to talk about some of these replies with you all, because there were some terms that were used. I'm like, is this a Yu-Gi-Oh! Term? Am I just stupid? I feel like I don't know what this means, but okay, that makes sense. So, midrange deck is defined by its win cons, often using decentralized and varied piece of interruption to survive a couple of turns. So, okay, so we actually immediately have a conflict here. Of some people saying that midrange is like small boards, and some people saying that midrange is wide boards. So, is it, which one is it? You know what I mean? Like, is it, I mean, it's like, what is... Does decentralized mean just more than one, or like a lot of? Because I guess Sword Soul, Baron, and Chi Shao are decentralized because they're not the same card, but like midrange isn't any deck that's exactly combo Controller's Son. Okay, yeah, so I think I do need to have a follow-up prompt of like, okay, so what is the difference between midrange and combo? Because like, I don't know, if we keep using Sword Soul as our yardstick, I think Sword Soul is a combo deck. I'm just gonna say, like, I feel like every definition that people inadvertently give about combo, Sword Soul fits that. It OTKs, it plays into Nibiru, it plays into Maxi, it does a lot of summons, it has a variety of plays it can do, it ends on a lot of negates on turn, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Adamantipator's combo, Striker's control, Riddick's on his Sun, everything else is mid-range. Like, but again, like, I feel like the line even between something like Adamantipator and Sword Soul is a little bit arbitrary. Is it the number of summons? Like, I don't know. I feel like that is, again, people are also kind of bouncing between the yardsticks we're using. Is it the combo that defines whether deck is combo or mid-range or whatever? Is it the end board? Is it the process? Like, if you hate Max C combo, if you dislike Max C mid-range, if you don't care much, control if you laugh stun. I see where you're coming from. But that still feels like a very loose definition that would definitely vary from person to person. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like using an individual card as our yardstick. I want a definition like Magic's or Hearthstone's. Not necessarily the same definition, but one that is objective and doesn't refer to specific metas, cards, game states, board states, or any... Like, we can put it in a category of deck and talk about it generically and not have to use a specific example every single time. It's not a real definition, it's just funny. No, but you say that, but I understand your sentiment, and I actually agree with parts of it, too. Like, again, this is why I say midrange is a vibe. Your answer feels right. It's not an objective, definitive answer, but it feels right. Midrange is a vibe. Maybe that's what the title of my video will be. Midrange is a vibe. Oh, Morgana had a response here recently. Midrange decks are mainly value decks that play low to the ground and win by war of attrition, but can push real hard if they have the lethal line and go full throttle. What is playing low to the ground? Is that, like, you can dodge maxi? Is that you can play through a disruption? Is that, because that's a term I've seen people use a couple of times in these replies as well. Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't talked about in these terms because it's a drastically different game. It is what it is. No. This is the problem. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is absolutely talked about in these terms, and it is absolutely also a different game. Like, that is the whole crux of my issue, is that people unironically will just say, oh, that's a mid-range deck, and not clarify. But, like, we need to be clarifying. Like Chi Baron Pass or Trouble Sunny Pass. So is the low to the ground mean not a lot of disrupts? Like, because again, if we're defining a deck by its end board, then, oh, Dragon Link makes Borland Borload. Just like Sword Soul makes Chi Baron. Therefore, Dragon Link is a mid-range deck. Yeah, not a lot of disrupts. Okay, so yeah, by that definition, Dragon Link is also a mid-range deck. But I don't think if you said that to people, they would agree with you. And here we have our issue, right? That's kind of like the main crux of my example. Well, that's a bad D-Link board. Chi Baron is a bad Sword Soul board. Like, what do you think? You can also add a Blackout and Protoss, just like you can also add IP and Branded Beast and whatever else. Like, I think they're directly comparable. If you're gonna talk about the definition of mid-range by its end board, I think that is directly comparable. That's kind of like, honestly, that's like the main hang-up I have, is that example I gave right there, that Sword Soul is the definition and using its end board as an example. Dragon Link has a very similar end board, but people would not say Dragon Link is mid-range. It's so wild how Yu-Gi-Oh's mid-range is such a different thing from any other card game because of the lack of a resource curve. Very true. Like, mid-range in Yu-Gi-Oh seems to be more so about the feel, the vibe even, of a deck strategy than a concrete definition. I'd say that mid-range doesn't really exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! More I think Spoofy meant Nor. Nor doesn't like aggro just due to how the turns and pace of the game are. The closest definition of mid-range in Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel something post Age of Overlord meta decks are pivoting towards, which is strategy that sets up a board and does good disruption. Oh my god, I need a drink of water. But whose real strength lies in the turn 3 and onwards grind game setup. Well, hey, I ain't the one calling Sword Soul mid-range either. Okay, that's fair. But so, then what would you say is a mid-range deck? Newer decks like Unchained Rescue set up boards that disrupt your opponent, find a way to survive till the next turn where they can use their grind game. So that's actually not a bad point, honestly. Even though I feel a lot of these decks are getting these things with new supports, I'm out of time for nuanced differences between these strategies play out. Sure, in even a little year's time, we'll be struggling definition or define the categories of decks again. I'm excited by the current direction, though. Oni also brings up an excellent point that I haven't gotten to yet. Tempo terms don't apply to Yu-Gi-Oh! Mid-range in Magic and Hearthstone exists off the back of tempo. So you know how earlier when we were looking at Hearthstone's definition, we focused a lot on this sentence right here. Typically, mid-range decks are built on the theory that every single card in the deck is greater soul value than any card in the opponent's deck. That is tempo. Tempo is the idea that in Magic you can play, or in Hearthstone you can play Sludge Belcher, which will potentially destroy multiple minions in battle and then still leave another minion behind when it dies. That is high tempo. That is one soul card getting a lot of value. The closest thing we have to Tempo in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Cashier Fenrir. Cashier Fenrir is actually a pretty good example of a Tempo card, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't built that way and doesn't play that way. Tempo is not a factor in Yu-Gi-Oh! For this reason, because we don't rely on one card to pull a lot of weight in any one card in any given Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck to pull a lot of weight. The same way that Hearthstone and Magic midrange decks do in their game, because again, the concept of Tempo is applicable due to the nature of their game versus ours. Lab is a combo. Exactly. That's another thing, too. Even what we call control decks, by other card games' definition, is definitely a combo deck. Lab, if you were to show any other card game player, they'd be like, wow, this must be like a combo deck, because it plays a lot of different cards in one turn to achieve its inboard state. Magic and Hearthstone have Tempo. We have Tempo, the percussion chant, exactly. I feel like that's the trap cards in Lab, though. But they're not individual value. Like, Welcome Lab needs to be able to grab the lady or the lovely. The furniture needs to have stuff get removed to recycle. Every single Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck, the effects are so intertwined. That's why I say Cashier Fenrir is like the only good example of a Tempo card in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Not because it grabs another Cashier monster, but because of the ability to banish when it battles or when an effect is activated. Cashier Fenrir, in theory, by itself, can do a decent enough job at controlling the board state without the help of any other card in the hand, deck, graveyard, field, wherever. But that's not true of, like, Welcome Lab, for example. You have to grab something from the deck in order to be playing it. Cashier on top, once again, is what it is. Cashier, I'm so surprised nobody said Cashier. I feel like that's a great example of a mid-range deck, and one of the answers I kind of would have accepted, but nobody said it. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, Fenrir is the best example of what a high tempo card is. But again, as Oni pointed out, tempo does not exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! Due to the nature of how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is built and played. It does not exist. Therefore, the mid-range, again, mid-range is built on the back of the tempo, like, concept. So it's not an applicable term to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm not saying we can't use the term to have a different definition, but that's not how players use it. Like, rather, we don't have one definition that we all agree to. What if I said a small combo deck that doesn't auto-lose to Maxi? Again, that's very subjective, and we're basing the parameter of our entire game's definition off of one card, which, like, what if they do finally ban Maxi and Master Duel? Then we have to rewrite what the definitions of what, like, mid-range and stuff is, you know? I understand the idea. Like, this is, again, why I say mid-range is a vibe, not a definition. This answer feels correct. I understand the sentiment, and I don't disagree with it, but it's not a definition we can put on, like, the wiki, you know what I mean? Have we made any progress? We're in, like, Diamond 4, I think, almost Diamond 3 right now. Oni says doesn't exist. Tempo, yeah, exactly. The game is built around two turns, right? Most decks OTK, so tempo winning through advantage over the long state is something that control decks do. And individual card value in the form of tempo isn't, like, a thing that exists, really. Oh, in defining mid-range? Well, here, spoiler alert, we're not going to define mid-range. We're not going to land on one definition. I think the closest we're going to get to defining mid-range is that mid-range is a vibe. That is the definition of mid-range. It's a vibe. But this is this and the video that will ensue is just me very much proving this point. L says, I would say mid-range deck focuses less on raising its ceiling to absurd levels like combo or slowing the game down like control, but on establishing a reliable and repeatable resource loop that provide enough interruption to maintain momentum for as little commitment as possible. Establishing a reliable and repeatable resource loop is a sentiment that we've seen before, which I don't, like, I don't know, like, what decks do that? I feel like the decks that do that are control, like Labyrinth does the resource loop with the furniture. Like, again, if we're using Sword Soul as our yardstick because it's one of the more common examples, does that really loop its resources? Like, not necessarily inherently. Mathmech kind of does, because you can end, like, you can very easily have your combo set up your next play, but that's if you think Mathmech is a mid-range deck, I guess. I don't know. Isn't Pure Runic the perfect example of a control deck? Yeah, it is. I would say that. Like, you're talking about a Runic deck that tries to win by milling. Yeah, I think so. Sprite is somewhat a resource loop, yep, because you can elf and bring back blue or jet, like usually jet for like the starter, right? That's a resource loop. But like, I don't know. Again, I guess Sprite might not be a bad example. Like pure Sprite, I'm thinking about. I don't know though, because again, if we're using OTKing as something that mid-range decks don't always try to do, which people haven't outright said that a lot, but a lot of people have said that, you know, oh, mid-range decks go on, you know, 3 or 4 turns or stuff, but like Sprite definitely OTKs. It very much OTKs. So if the range is aggro to control, mid-range decks are a middle ground of the two. Aggro, what is aggro? Aggro decks rely on the turn 1 board that contains the maximum amount of disruption the deck can output to get an instant win, while control decks rely on more reactive long-term strategy of out-resourcing the opponent over a long period of time. Isn't this just like combo? This definition right here. Mid-range decks have the power of board presence and attack power that aggro decks have, while also balancing out with good control aspects. What control aspects? This piece in particular, nobody clarifies on. When people say mid-range decks can combo, but they also do control stuff, nobody clarifies what they mean by control stuff. Not a single person does. That allow them to go grind further than aggro decks. You can't define mid-range decks without defining it with respect to the other two extremes. If aggro decks plan is to win on turn 1, control is to win turn 4 or 5. Mid-range decks usually aim for turns 2 to 3 turns to win. What Yu-Gi-Oh decks do this? Like, I guess Rescue Ace, but like, I don't know. Like Pearly OTKs, Sword Soul will OTK you if they can, and they very often can. Would Salamangreat be a mid-range deck? Not by this definition. Salamangreat will OTK you with access code. They won't wait 2 or 3 turns. They'll just OTK you. Like, Bikonko is a mid-range deck because it goes like, okay, this is another thing nobody clarifies. When people say 2 to 3 turns to win, are you talking about 2 to 3 turns total or 2 to 3 turns like per deck? Because yeah, I mean, any deck that goes second would be a mid-range deck. Literally every deck that goes second would be a mid-range deck. But again, if we're using the definition of each deck taking 2 to 3 turns, that's a control deck. Games don't play out that long in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pearly Ghost Trick equals aggro, regular Pearly equals mid-range. How? You're going to have to explain Ghost Trick Pearly equaling aggro. I don't follow that at all. This Ringo Worm theory crafting. Don't worry, we'll get to that too. We're still doing the Twitter thread now. I'd say a mid-range deck is a deck that sets up turn 1 to survive, accumulate resource to win turn 3. Again, is this not literally every deck that goes first? I'm telling you, the only definition that makes sense is a small engine combo versus large engine combo. Balanced control aspects is what allows you to recover your resources. I know you did not want an example, but Earth Machine does that. I'm not saying you can't have See, I also phrased that kind of poorly. I should have said don't just list examples, because that's what I meant. You can list examples alongside a definition, but what I wanted was for people, or what I didn't want for people to do was to just a list of examples and nothing else. Because Ghost Trick Pearly uses all its resources to make 2 Nor and UDF and doesn't have much left after that. So aggro. So you're saying that aggro is defined by how much of your deck's resources you use on the first turn? Because like, I don't know. I feel like the double Noir UDF board doesn't really scream aggro to me. If anything, that screams control. I feel like sitting on a towers that spins is wanting the game. Well, because then you just OTK in the follow-up turn, right? For me, it's a deck which has OTK and control and advantage all in one, but excels in none of them. This is entirely opinion-based. Midrange is a deck that can be consistent, has a variety of negates, 1 negate, Omni. But I feel like a lot of control decks do this, put out a lot of different kinds of negates. Like, again, think about an Adagnister board that has a lot of different kinds of negates. It's got the Firewall bounce. It's got the Singularity negates. It's got the Spell Trap negates with the... does it have just Spell Trap negates? No, that's the D-Save war. I'm thinking of Mathmech. But people would call that a combo deck. It's hard to define things. That's yes, exactly my point. It's not even hard to define it. There is not a definition. I guess my main goal isn't. I think my main goal at this point isn't even to let's pick a definition for mid-range. I just want people to stop saying, "Oh, this deck is mid-range," and not elaborating. Can we just acknowledge that it's not a defined term in our game? That's all I really want. Deck that tries to go for a keyword small combo setup. With addition cards for protection. These decks have easiest time running hand traps, but they can run actual traps as well. They usually have a focal, monster, or boss as well. What is a small combo setup? Is that a small board? Because that's Dragon Link. Is that a small combo line? I don't know. What is a small combo line? Is it one that plays under Nib? Can we stop using the word mid-range and instead describe the decks? Yeah, exactly. Mid-range, well, I don't even think it's bad to have one-word definitions. I just don't think mid-range is one of them. Mid-range decks are ones that use combos to set the resource loop instead of a one-of board. They can look and feel like combo control stun. This is another thing that like I started getting really tired of is like, oh, it's like every deck in one. I'm like, that's not a helpful definition. Like saying, oh, a mid-range deck can look and feel like combo or control or stun. So this to me says so it can be any deck. So mid-range can be any deck. Mid-range is a vibe, not a definition. Mid-range and like combo have one set combo line they tend to follow. Mathmech gets super factorial off Albert always. Rescue Ace gets Turbulence through Hydrant. Combo like D-Link or Horse Thunder Pile has many different ways to play depending on the hand. No, Mathmech has a lot of different ways to play depending on the hand. Rescue Ace has a lot of different ways to play depending on like the variant you play, let alone the hand. Like, yeah, I don't jive with that definition. I'm liking everybody who does reply because it is very helpful, this data here. Mid-range are resource denial decks. What does this mean? What is a resource denial deck? They don't actively try to win the game on the first turn, but they use their deck to take advantage of choke points and shut down your opponent's combo. That's literally every piece of disruption ever, like Ash Blossom, Gamma, Imperm, etc. It plays the game slower until the opponent can't come back because you're too far ahead. That's control. Wait, hang on. What did Toad ask? Does Sword Soul even have a resource loop? No! No, they don't! That was kind of one of my whole points, is like, you either, like, okay, sometimes the Chi-Shao search, you can just, like, hold the emergence, I guess, but usually you would just add the Protoss anyway. The God Who Solves Stone Rain! That's good. Resource denial sounds like stun. This doesn't feel like a term. This feels like buzzword soup. This phrase feels like buzzword soup to me. Mid-range does the job consistently, but what it simply doesn't compete with high-tier decks. Okay, this is the kind of replies, and we're going to see more of these moving on. These are the kind of replies where the waters really started to get muddied. You're going to see a lot of replies here where people are like, oh, mid-range is a deck that really can't compete with high-tier, but it's still kind of good. Or like, oh, mid-range is like below tier 2, and I'm like, those replies I was especially like, what? Are you taking the word mid in mid-range too literally? I think some people are. So Rogue, exactly. So Rogue. There's no such thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Correct. Mid-range plays on a curve that does something. No Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck does that since old school Monarchs. Mid-range equals mid. Very hard to define in Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, I didn't like these replies. Let me do that. Hard to define since Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so different compared to other games. Correct, but I define it as a deck that has general combo lines, but has enough flexibility to deviate and versatility to change up its game plan depending on the board. Isn't that Dragon Link? Isn't that Adagnister? Isn't that a bunch of decks you would traditionally call combo decks? A deck that has balance, no easy power creep, okay, but a good consistency rate at pulling combo / full combo with many options of that combo be... Okay, no, this is keyword soup. Or not keyword soup. This is buzzword soup. This is buzzword soup. This isn't a definition. What does this mean? What does this sentence mean? A deck that has balance, no easy power creep, but a good consistency rate at pulling combo / full combo with many options of that combo being negated by other cards. Pearly is mid-range. I guess, how are you defining that, though? Like, again, A lot of people will just say this deck is mid-range, and it's like, what is the reason you say that deck is mid-range? The types of answers we have so far are 1, mid-range is something it isn't, 2, mid-range is a bad deck, 3, mid-range is buzzword soup. Well, the fact that we're getting such... It's not even that we're getting... Because here's the thing. We're not getting, like, a ton of different answers, but we have, like, 3 or 4, even 5 different answers that people are equally contributing. Like, so you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like there's... Everybody's saying something different from each other, but we have a bunch of different definitions that everyone is kind of equally saying that this is it. If I squint my eyes and it looks like Sword Soul, it's mid-range. Combo decks that don't lose to Droll. Sure. A mid-range deck aims to set up a modest board. Modest, this is very opinionated. With follow-up for future turns, often with the goal of out-resourcing the opponent. Does Sword Soul particularly try to out-resource the opponent? Maybe I'm too hung up on using Sword Soul as an example. If we use, like, Branded, does Branded try to out-resource over a long game? Like, I don't think it does necessarily. Mid-range are usually able to play like a combo or a control deck depending on the resources available in the current game state. This is also kind of like every Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Like, if you brick, you just kind of like sit on your disrupts and control with them. Out-resourcing sounds like control. Sky Striker is out-resourcing. That's the other thing, too, exactly. Like, out-resource... Like, I guess that's what people mean when they say it has aspects of control. But I feel like that isn't an aspect of control. That's just what control is. I'd say mid-range decks have historically been referred to as toolbox in Yu-Gi-Oh! They have various tools to cover a large amount of situations, but only a light synergy. They are relying on one OP combo. Magic's RPS. Yeah, it wouldn't copy. Also, I don't think toolbox decks have been a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Since, like, Edison format, honestly. I think we have very much long since outpaced the point where toolbox decks are a thing. Punk out resources, I wouldn't call it control. Exosisters toolbox, that's fair. That's a good example. A lot of 1/1.5 card combo into pressure and advantage rather than negates. What does this mean? Pressure and advantage rather than negates. I guess you mean like banishes and bounces and like removal as opposed to negating. They usually lock themselves into an archetype / type attribute because they... See, this definition is way too specific. I feel like you're talking about like 2 decks when you use a definition like this. A mid-range deck is one that is on the area between combo and control. Again, we're seeing this sentiment, but what does that mean? That is about setting up simple, low-investment combos that are easy to interrupt and a lot of space for non-engine or tech. So, like, that's another common sentiment we've seen, where now, rather than defining a mid-range deck by... also, Vsauce Robin, thank you very much for the follow. Sorry I missed that. Welcome to the stream. I am ranting about a topic I'm very passionate about, which is how we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh!, particularly the term mid-range. So, now we have, like, this is, and again, this is a sentiment we've seen a couple of times now. Mid-range is sometimes defined as what the end board is. It's sometimes defined as how the combo plays out. And some people define it by how many hand traps you can fit in the deck, which, like, that's literally all 3 different stages of how a deck is built and or plays out. We have deck building, we have the play setup, and we have the play result. And all 3 of those different things have been cited as like, oh, this is what sets mid-range apart. And it's like, what? Yu-Gi-Oh! Is done for? That's not what I'm saying. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I'm not saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Is done for. I'm saying this one word doesn't apply to it. Very different sentiments. Midrange is a deck that relies on making less massive boards or sitting on floodgates and more on ending with 1 or 2 mediocre attack boss monsters and lots of follow-up. It focuses on a lot of 1-for-1 trades to interaction where combo and control focuses on blowouts. Dragon Link fits this definition to me. Is Dragon Link a mid-range deck? Again, I don't think people would say yes generally. A deck that can change its game plan wherever it's necessary. You can play the deck with a variety of styles, including standard combo with a lot of hand traps or just pure gas. This kind of just doesn't say anything, honestly. Like, I don't. This feels like This feels like it's saying, yeah, just like any deck. Isn't this all kind of pointless? Hang on. Isn't this all kind of pointless? Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks are about a spectrum of all these things. So, the point that I'm trying to make here is that we can't use, like, again, the point is that mid-range does not have a definition, and the point is that people use mid-range as if it has a definition. And as I've said a couple of times, I want to kind of bring light, ideally, to the fact of you know, the general public, like, we should accept that mid-range is a vibe, like, and you can't just say this deck is mid-range, period, and have that be, like, actually mean anything, you know? The point is that mid-range isn't real? Oh, I mean, then none of these terms are real. Like, it's okay to be disinterested in talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Vernacular in general, but, like, I am very interested in defining this, or at the very least pointing out that there are no definitions, so that way we can have an easier time talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! From a more objective standpoint. Which has been my goal in a lot of respects, but... So, like, yeah, I mean, it's okay to think, like, oh, this conversation is pointless. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know what else to say. Like, if you think that, that's fine, I don't. But, yeah, I don't know. No, that's not what I meant. I'm not saying I'm not interested. I'm saying it's opinion-based. I'm not trying to tell you to stop. No, I'm not. Well, for one, if you told me to stop, I wouldn't. But two, like, the thing is, it's not, here's the thing, it's not opinion-based in other games, which is where people are trying to draw the comparisons, right? When I have said in the past, Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have mid-range, people have said, yeah, it has mid-range like other card games. Other card games have actual objective definitions of what mid-range is. Again, we see this example when you Google MTG mid-range. We get the MTG Wiki with a dictionary-like definition. When you Google Hearthstone mid-range, same thing. When you Google Yu-Gi-Oh! Mid-range, you get Reddit threads of people asking what mid-range means. I think the way I think of deck levels is a combination of consistency, power output, and recovery capability to set some hard criteria to judge a deck by. The different styles of those decks fulfill those requirements in different ways, which is what makes it so hard to judge decks, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge decks by these, again, these terms that we use for other card games. Smaller, low ceiling. Low ceiling is a pretty recurring term, but I don't know necessarily what people mean when they say low ceiling. Does low ceiling mean small end board? Does low ceiling mean short combo? Does low ceiling mean... Because I'm used to using ceiling and floor in terms of how difficult a deck is to play. Skill ceiling, skill floor. Low ceiling is a phrase that came up a lot in these replies, and I don't know... do we have a defined term for low ceiling? Is low ceiling the end board or the combo itself? And again, we can use Dragon Link as our great anti-example. Is Dragon Link a low ceiling deck? What does low ceiling mean? Low ceiling definitely refers to the quantity of end-board interaction. Okay, so Dragon Link is a low ceiling deck. Therefore, Dragon Link, by this definition, is a mid-range deck. But again, would people call Dragon Link a mid-range deck? No. People call Dragon Link, and I would agree that it's a combo deck. If you want to call, you know what I mean. We'll get into what combo means another time, but yeah, again, I don't think Dragon Link is a low ceiling deck. What are you talking about? It ends on Borland and Borload, and sometimes IP, and sometimes Branded Beast. That is a low amount of interaction on the end board. It is not any more than Sword Soul has. It is a low ceiling. Low ceiling equals more linear combos? I don't know. Exactly, so that's the thing, right? Even the terms we're trying to define midrange with don't have definitions in and of themselves. What about the FTK for Dragon Link? Dragon Link doesn't FTK. Oh, I mean, if they go second. But Sword Soul FTKs if they go second. Like, how much is a high ceiling then? I don't fucking know. I don't think most people do. I think sometimes we use buzzwords and kind of don't really think about what we're actually saying. I think low investment is the better term, and they're using it interchangeably. I would say investing a few deck slots is one of the major differences between decks. People say are mid-range and people say are combo. Does it? Like, because again, I feel like this person and other people in chat have been talking about end boards when we talk about low ceiling. Yet again, terms that don't have definitions. Mid-range decks typically play compact engines, make a decent amount of non-engine. Can do their plays like 1 or 2 cards, make weaker boards than all-in combo decks. Dragon Link. Dragon Link does 1 to 2 cards. They don't play a lot of non-engine. But like, I feel like this person would call Dragon Link an all-in combo deck, but part of their definition also applies. I don't know. To be fair, part of it doesn't, but there is no mid-range deck in the game at the moment. With how most decks are, the first 2 turns are extremely important. They usually decide the game. Yes, there are some, but no one is playing them unless it's for fun or a different format. I guess this person means that like just Edison decks are mid-range, which I would... That's a different debate, actually. I'm referring more to modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but full Rika combo gotta be high ceiling. I mean, that's fair. But then what is low ceiling? Like, where do we draw the line between low and high? Again, we can say, oh, mid-range does a little bit less than combo, and I'm like, okay, but where is that line? Like, where does that line fall? Seal, Borland, Savage Beast Regained, Hot Red is the most recent seen D-Link. Wait, whoa, what D-Link players are you playing that regularly end on all of those? Are you Seals, Borland, Savage Beast Regained, the Bestials, and Hot Red? All of them on the same board? No, I don't see Dragon Link. You have to have like a god hand to end on all of that. Like, it's usually Borland, Borload, and then like 1 or 2 of like Seals, IP, some Bestials, some Beast Regained, you know, but all of that? No, not all of it at once. If we had definitions for combo and control, that would help, right? It would kind of, because again, I think we still need to draw the line between combo and mid-range, which is where we're having issues. I think they meant that's the biggest board they've seen. Hang on, did I misread that? Seal one is the most. Oh, is the most. I see. I thought you said that's what you most often see. I'm sorry, I misread that. That's my fault. Playground Yu-Gi-Oh! Just throwing your deck on the main monster zone. Yeah, sorry. I thought you said that's what you most see. You said that's the most you have seen. I get it. I understand now. My brain finally caught up with where chat is. Yes, apologies. I didn't mean to like rip into I never mean to rip into anybody. When I start talking in an impassioned way like that, by the way, I feel like maybe I do come across sometimes as if I'm ripping into the person. I want you to know that's never my intention. Like that is absolutely not my intention. I just get really passionate about Yu-Gi-Oh! And talking about it. And I think a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players do. I think that's why we talk. Like, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players kind of talk in that way, and I think that's why. No problem. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure we're all good, you know? I didn't want you to feel like I was coming down on you or anything. Same with anybody who replied either, by the way. If I'm like, oh, your definition of mid-range isn't right at all, again, my point is that there is no correct one and that mid-range is a vibe, so, yeah. You tend to skip a few words. I do that when I read Yu-Gi-Oh! Effects, too. Have you ever listened to me read a Yu-Gi-Oh! Effect aloud? I always go, like, once per turn, da-da-da, if you blah, blah, blah. Got it. Okay, mid-range is for decks that we either have the potential to be a meta deck. Okay, here's another person who is saying that mid-range is defined by whether it's a meta deck or not. No. Hey, Sebas, R. Torin, hope you are doing well. We're still going to cancel you on Twitter. Fuck! It was going to happen eventually. Alright, yeah, no, it's... Mid-range isn't defined by whether the deck is meta, you know? Mid-deck, no range. Again, we gotta go back up to the actual best reply of this thread. Anything that ranges from mid to... Oh my god, I seriously, I love this reply. Love that response. Let's see. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Every deck is a combo deck. True! So my understanding of a mid-range deck is something like Vanquish Soul, which sets up a resource loop as opposed to maximizing points of interaction. Examples include Vanquish Soul, Cash, and Tri-Brigade. How does Cash or Tri-Brigade not maximize their points of interactions? Setting up a resource loop as opposed to maximizing points of interactions. What? Like, on a Cash combo and a Tri-Brigade combo, you do both. Also, like, I still think Vanquish Soul is a control deck. Only look for the words quick effect, targeted, destroyed. Exactly, you get it. Midrange has the ability, or a mid-range deck has to be able to answer to things that has a good chance of going up against in the era of its release. Aka, it should never fall into one pop or interruption. You should have multiple ways to play. You should ideally not have all the eggs in one basket strategy. This is like every good this is what a good deck is. This definition is just what a good deck is. Like, what makes a deck meta viable. Cash Era. No, I understand that Cash Era has a resource loop, and I understand that Tri-Brigade's Revolt is also a resource loop. Where I was hung up on this definition is that they say set up a resource loop as opposed to maximizing points of interaction. This is where I'm hung up. I'm like, how do Cash and Tri-Brigade not maximize their points of interaction? Get multiple baskets. Noted. The basket industry stonks are on the rise. Midrange, is this Yu-Gi-Oh! Or an RPG? To be honest, not gonna lie, my honest opinion, or guess, a deck that isn't low tier on the poll, but not high enough to be considered an issue. That's my guess. No. I mean, I don't like the reply, because again, I very much appreciate everybody who contributed, but again, this is yet another person defining midrange as whether a deck is meta or not, or tiered or not, which I don't agree with at all. I'd say it's like a deck that doesn't really end on disruption like negates or pops, or would end on like minimal interruption, but does have the ability to gain lots of card advantage and recover resources to survive the long game. What deck doesn't end on negates or pops? Like, what I don't know what deck would fall under this definition. Has the ability to gain lots. So it's a deck that doesn't make negates or pops, but gains a lot of interaction. Ninja. Midrange equals mid is the truest statement I've heard in my life. Clifford's stun. Who said stun? You're right. You're right. You're so right. That's just stun. Clifford is the only mid-range deck. but only Clifford OTKs! Ninja? Don't laugh at Ninja. Listen, I'm laughing. You gotta understand, I have a complicated and not good relationship with Ninja. Ninja is my least favorite deck to play against in Master Duel. In Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess, whatever. Because of Geo Biden flipping cards face down and not letting them flip up. I like how people just define a whole other deck type in these, right? Midrange is a deck that doesn't have to build something crazy on turn 1 or 2 to win, but also has enough synergy to utilize Grave or Banish Zone to reclaim cards to make comebacks after major hits from the opponent. It's a deck that keeps playing in tough situations. This is Dragon Link. This person is describing Dragon Link. Dragon Link is a mid-range deck. Ooh, maybe that should be the video title. I'll just say Dragon Link is a mid-range deck. And then explain. Calm down, Coder. That's good. The fact that you can't flip them back up is the most toxic form of zone locking. I know! It sucks! Why? It's like, why? Why? Why can't I ever flip them up? Why can't it just be until, like, the end of my next turn? That would still get the point across. And not be dumb. D-Link is a mid-range deck. No explanation. This is why you people should be on Econ. Oh, you know what? I think this will be my follow-up Twitter post. I think I'm going to post a picture of Dragon Striker, and I'm going to just make a tweet that says, after reviewing the replies and discussing it with chat, we have come to the consensus that based on the majority of definitions, Dragon Link is a mid-range deck. D-Link confirmed mid. Fuck, that's some Galaxy Brain level shit. Dragon Link actually isn't that good because it's a mid-range deck, and mid-range decks are mid. Low resource, low ceiling deck that aims to out-resource your... What? Low resource, low ceiling deck that aims to out-resource. Low resource, out-resource. Low resource, out-resource. What? Am I okay, does this actually mean something or am I going crazy? I feel like this is a inherently conflicting statement. Over the course of multiple turns, I think the example I always come back to is Sword Soul. Sword Soul doesn't out-resource over multiple turns. Sword Soul OTKs. I think they mean resource invested. Input, low resource investment, output card advantage over your opponent. Okay, I guess that makes a little more sense. Yeah. Trizu and Dids come to mind when I think of mid-range. Didn't read the prompt. Did not read the prompt. Didn't read the prompt. Either a slower than combo Dragon Link, old dandy variants, but faster than control. What is speed relative to in this case? Because we're comparing Dragon Link and old dandy variants, saying they're both fast. No weighing Dragon Link mentioned. Slower than mid-range? Question mark. Involves combo, but if disrupted halfway, can still play out the next few turns. Rescue Ace, Monadium, to an extent tier. What do you mean to an extent tier? This is like, number 2 is like the epitome of what tier limit is. This is the epitome of what tier limit is, but I feel like tier limit is something a lot of people would compare to with like Dragon Link, for example. Also, that's another thing too. People said that tier limit was mid-range because it ended on a low disrupt end board, and I'm like, how is that different from Dragon Link? We keep coming back to it. I keep coming back to Dragon Link is a mid-range deck by these definitions. Ability to make both offensive and defensive plays and has some form of resource engine to continue playing after the first few turns. If combo is all gas and control, it's hitting the brakes and mid-range is just driving the car. Okay. I kind of get what they're saying there. It's a vibe. Mid-range is a vibe. Tier is a 37-minute combo mid-range deck that aims to stun the opponent with wind. Hang on. I'm screenshotting that comment. Because that's like the epitome of what I'm getting at here. You understand me, Oni. You get me. Dragon Link is mid. There, fixed it for you. How I see it is a deck that can compete with meta if the player that has this... No, this is another definition that's using meta as an example. Just a little push over in. Maybe check over to Sword Soul. Sword Soul! No. Mid-range decks are decks that have a good combo component as well as a good control component. Again, we see that. I think, again, being kind of lifted from the Magic definition, they're usually pretty good at recycling resources, having good options in control, going first, and good options in board breaking and OTK when going second. But isn't that just like pretty much every meta deck? I don't know. Unchained, didn't read the prompt. My definition of mid-range is a deck that aims to invest a modest amount of resources to create a modest end board. This is the epitome of the opinionated response that a lot... I mean, and when I say opinionated, of course, they're all going to be opinionated, but this definition solely lies in whatever this person's definition of modest is. And this is a lot of what people end up doing when they talk about a mid-range deck. They're just like, whatever deck I think it is. And that's kind of what this response feels like. This response feels like this person could just say any deck. And it's like, oh, it's modest. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? A mid-range deck is a combo deck that loses to one hand trap. What? From what I'm seeing here, we need a whole Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, now you get me. This is also the epitome of what I'm getting at. We need a Yu-Gi-Oh! Dictionary. We sorely need a Yu-Gi-Oh! Dictionary. You can define combo versus midrange by how they utilize extra engine cards, with combo decks generally using them as extension to prove their end board, and midrange decks using extra engine to play through hand traps or save follow-up. But then, D-Link is still a weird middle ground where it kind of fits under mid-range again with a lot of hands. Exactly, your example is like very hand-dependent. Like, in Mathmech, sometimes I will use the extra resources as extenders, and sometimes I will save them. That is just hand-dependent. D-Link loses to Shifter, it's mid-range. Mid-range loses to one hand trap, but also has the ability to play through one hand trap. That's another conflict we've seen. Also, like, this is another definition that's, like, hand-dependent. This doesn't even define any kind of deck. This defines the hand you open. Midrange is a deck that attempts to limit respond the opponent card for card and trade positively to generate advantage, rather than win in one turn with combo or shut down the opponent with floodgates. This is control. This person just described control. This literally is how I would describe control. And I think a lot of people would... Like, am I off the wall with that? That reads as a... I mean, of course I'm still gonna like the post, but I feel like that is the definition of control right there. Definitely control? Yeah, okay. I didn't think... I was like, some of these responses, this is again why I wanted to check with you all in a stream, because I wanted to go off just more than my own opinion in interpreting a lot of these responses. That's control? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That sounds like normaling Sarah. Is it really control and not stun if they're playing floodgates? Is it really control and not... Wait, but they said trade positively rather than win in one turn or shut down with floodgates. Yeah, they're not talking about playing floodgates. Midrange has the ability to do some sort of resource-intensive combo. Okay. Resource-intensive combo, but I thought mid-range decks did not have to invest a lot of resources. Okay. Plus also the ability to do that same combo again on the crackback, something like an Unchained. Okay, but Sword Soul can't do the same combo on a crackback necessarily. They have to top deck it. A mid-range deck aims to use non-engine to simplify the game state. Trades efficiently in the first 2 turns. Okay, these first 2 bullet points are control. Yeah, either defines control or stun. I can play Grave of Super Ancient Organisms as that stun. That's just a Meeps deck. Midrange deck aims to use non-engine to simplify the game state. Has trade efficiently in the first 2 turns. Has extenders it plays that it only needs to use to combat interruption or use to follow up because they do not meaningfully increase the ceiling if used. Oh my god, what is this last sentence? God, I have to read this out loud slowly. Has extenders it plays that it only needs to use to combat interruption or use for follow-up because they did not meaningfully increase the ceiling if used with full combo. Okay, I kind of understand what they're saying now that I read it very slowly and out loud to myself. Maybe I'm just stupid, I don't know. But I feel like the first 2 bullet points are definitely referring to control here. Non-engine isn't control, non-engine is non-engine. Triple tag is noted. I said not to give examples, but the one... Wow! Oh my god! Read the prompt and ignored it. Not even didn't read the prompt. Read the prompt and chose to ignore it. Comes to mind is Altergeist is a deck that does some comboing, but is also a deck that built around slowing the game down and making them try to play at your pace. I cannot think of a more controlled deck than Altergeist. I'm not alone on that, right? Can we all agree that Altergeist is definitely a control deck? Like, again, yeah. I know you said not to do X, but Altergeist is control. Read the instructions, understood them. Fuck you, Altergeist. The audacity. I know, that's so funny. Not even didn't read the prompt, read the prompt and ignored it. That's funny. That's really, I think that's genuinely funny. That's good. Deck has combos, but has lower investment for lower output generally. They often have the ability to play a long game if needed, but also have the ability to output big damage when necessary. I think a lot of combo decks play this way as well. Like, lower investment for lower output generally. Is that, like, generally the combos, or generally you hold... I don't know. I kind of feel like this is one of those definitions that just doesn't really say anything specific. And a lot of them don't. Like, again, looking at, like, the Hearthstone and Magic definitions, like, they get very specific about what it means to be a mid-range. There's no, like, well, sometimes they play this way, but sometimes they play that way. It's like, you know, it is a deck between aggro control. They generally try to control the board early before moving, you know what I mean? It's getting very specific about how mid-range plays, what it likes to do, what the philosophy of building a mid-range deck is like. And then there's a lot of replies like this, where it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like this isn't saying anything specific. If you have to structure your combos around Nibiru, you're probably a combo deck. If you set or play more than 2 or 3 spell traps in a given turn, you're probably a control deck. Mid-range is everything else, I guess. But Sword Soul can't play around Nibiru. Sword Soul plays in Nibiru not every single time, but You know what I mean? The general basic Sword Soul combo line that doesn't open with a Baron plays into Nibiru. For me, it's when a deck wins in turn 2 to 4. Is this the deck's turn 2 to 4, or is this the game's turn 2 to 4? By wins here, I'm not talking about boards that are unoutable, but I consider those to be wins on turn 1. If you're going first, you stave off their turn 2 plays with a moderate board and finish on turn 3, but recursion gets worse or not turn 5 plus. Wait. If you're going first, you stave off their turn 2 plays with a moderate board and finish on turn 3. Is that not what combo decks do as well? Question mark? A deck that can perform but never will. That is a say-nothing statement. Pure Plunder Patrol. Didn't read the prompt. Sanquish Vol. Funny, but didn't read the prompt. Decks for those that like the game but don't feel like they participate. Well, decks for those that like the game but don't feel like they have to participate in the have to win all the time category. I'm actually unliking this because this person is literally just saying decks I like. This person is just saying decks that I think are cool. Okay, good talk. Tier Limit. Didn't read the prompt. I think Midrange makes 0 sense in Yu-Gi-Oh! Whenever I see someone use it, they mostly just refer to a grinder deck with a resource loop. True statement. True statement. Decks that can go second. What? What? That's such a broad definition! As far as I use it, mid-range deck is a deck that fits one of 2 criteria. A bi-module deck, never heard that one before, that can switch between combo mode or control mode. Okay. A deck that has its primary combo line, but that uses up little resources or is good at reusing them to play more turns. Sword Soul doesn't do that, but Dragon Link does. Kind of. Well, with Branded Regained, actually, Dragon Link can pretty easily do that. Mikanko! Oh shit, wait, Mikanko is actually this deck here, number 1. Okay. IDK, I just play TG. Well, at least they're honest. That's really funny, actually. Decks that can set up well enough on a short combo and setting up interaction outside of a full back row. IDK, I keep forgetting about the definition. You're not forgetting, there isn't one. I put decks in 1 of 4 categories. Stun uses all cards in hand turn 1, does a combo prevents play. Control doesn't all gas to maintain advantage, does a combo hard turn 1 but has grind game. Midrange still maintains hand advantage turn 1 but has small string of combo to set up boards. Wait, 1 of 4 categories. Stun, control, midrange. Oh, combo. Here we go. Combo. All cards in hand matter to assemble an unbreakable board. What is a mid-range deck that the combo definition would not apply to? Is Traptrix now mid-range? I don't fucking know. We've come full circle. I'm right. Mikanko, Numeron, and Grin Manju are all mid-range decks. Code Talker? I feel like most people would call Code Talker a combo deck. Even though it fits a lot of these mid-range definitions. Stun example, Draco Slayer, Runic Stun, control example, Labyrinth, mid-range example, Sword Soul! But Sword Soul, what? Sword Soul, I mean, Unbreakable is very opinionated. Let's remove the word Unbreakable, because this is very, like, by this person's opinion. All cards matter in hand to assemble the end board. Sword Soul needs as many cards as it can get, like, I don't know, it's just like even if you open the Emergence, it's not like you just search another Emergence and hold it, then you search the Blackout, which you also add to your end board. Anime Girl is the more relevant term than mid-range deck. I don't 100%, I don't know. Let's see. Mid-range is any combo deck that has the option of playing slower and more control. Doesn't necessarily need to want to win the game as quickly as possible, turn 2 or 3. What is this? Is this the game's turn 2 or 3? Is this the deck's turn 2 or 3? If it's the deck's, this extra doesn't make any sense because literally, or the game's rather, because literally every deck wins on the game's turn 2 or 3. You either go first and set up the board and then crack back on turn 3, or you go second and OZK. And again, not every single deck I know, but like the majority of decks. Midrange just means the deck is neither control nor combo because it isn't very good at either. I know that because that's all the decks I play. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Low ceiling but high consistency, turn 1 combo. Low ceiling, high consistency. Again, What does low ceiling mean? What does low ceiling mean? We have come across, this is another, now we're using a term to define a term that also isn't defined as a term. Orcus didn't read the prompt. Midrange does not end on an unbreakable board, but very consistently gets a decent end board even when interrupted. Okay, that's Dragon Link. Is a deck that aims to put up as much interaction for the least resource investment. That's definitely a combo, by the way. A mid deck, haha. And IMO, the term midrange is useful for Yu-Gi-Oh! Correct, because of how difficult it is to properly define, or even how fleshed out definitions describe a huge majority of the meta. Super correct. Decks would be less confusing to describe if people would drop the term entirely. 100% correct. Sure, people can't play midrange. You could farm infinite Twitter threads out of this. Dude, I get MBT a lot more after this Twitter thread. I get him a lot more. Midrange in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is whatever Salamangreat does. Salamangreat OTKs. Salamangreat tries to win as quickly as possible. Salamangreat can often have longer combo lines. Is Salamangreat a midrange deck? Who knows? Combo control midrange all exists on a spectrum. Combo control are the endpoints and midrange is the center. Decks are placed along the spectrum based on how fast they expand their deck's total resources. The far combo extends in all turn one, while far control. Oh, it's okay. So this, they're saying it's how much of your engine you use defines whether you're combo or midrange. I don't know. By that definition, Mathmech is a mid-range deck then. But a lot of people said, well, we'll look at that reply in a second. A lot of people said Mathmech was not mid-range. Not many hard interrupts in engine. Usually puts up 2 to 3 interrupts and has a nice resource loop as well as a good amount of non-engine. That's Dragon Link. Deck of low-cost combos that plays how low to the ground can be backed up. Wait, what? A deck of low-cost combos that plays low to the ground and can be backed up. Okay, I did fuck that up reading it. That's what I thought. By an abundance of hand traps or defensive cards. Bonus points if you can weave small world targets from your engine. Okay, so now we're defining mid-range by whether or not you can play small world exactly. I feel like a lot of combo decks play small world. Like, my Mathmech Scareclaw deck plays small world, and I would absolutely define that as a combo deck. I say it's not mine. I didn't come up with the combo line. Just the one I use is what I meant. Midrange means maybe to your point, 2.5. I feel like this is the one where we can definitely agree is not the definition of midrange. Again, numerous people who are saying it's whether a deck is a certain tier level or how good it is. Like we can all agree on that. Like that's definitely not what midrange means. Or that isn't what it means in respect to like general definitions relative to like combo control, etc., etc. Let's see. I don't know. I'm kind of starting to like wane on these a little bit. I feel like, you know, I'll like glance over a couple more, and if I see somebody say anything unique or interesting, like split the difference between combo and control. Type of deck that requires a lot of setup and effort for 1 to 2 interactions, offers a lot of an advantage, like Vendred or Jamas. Or Dragon Link! Like how self-aware people are, they just casually start the sentence with blah 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 combo. A deck that executes a combo! Right? Okay. Yeah, feel mid-range deck aims to interact with the opponent through a single moment interruption, so not lingering effects or floodgates. That does also require long-term comboing instead of going for repeatable interruptions in turn 4+. This is control! This is control. This is the difference. This person is defining the difference between control and stun. Real bigger issues if you give me a mid-range deck and ask me to describe what it does. First thing is why I have combo. Two-tone gets it. Two-tone literally had the exact revelation Oni was talking about. The real bigger issue is that if you give me a mid-range deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I ask you to describe what it does, the first thing that always happens is, well, I combo if I have these cards, and well, if you're doing a combo, that's a combo deck. This is why I kind of suspect combo might also be a not good term, honestly. That might be my next topic I explore, is like, is combo, like, I don't know, you know what I'm getting at here. Like, can we really call, like, what does a combo deck actually mean in Yu-Gi-Oh? Two-tone is so real for that banger two-tone tweet. Capital C combo, lowercase c combo. That's fun. Wait, I don't know if you're making a joke or if you're actually being serious, but I mean, either way. But like, like, if you are being serious, what is the difference between the two? Tick Moo plus Gozen, man, that's a crazy combo. You're half making a joke, okay? It's kind of what I thought. That's what I thought. Consistent, reliable. Usually there's room for... This is getting so into deck building specifics. Midrange does it all, but not super well. Kind of like that reply. I'd say midrange is a style of deck and effectively use every super type. So again, we're defining it by whether they use monster spells or traps, like the amount of cards left in the extra. This master combo is for the birds. I mean, Flouanderies, like that, I would not even disagree that Flouanderies is a combo deck. Like, I would not necessarily disagree with that term at all, honestly. Two ways to define combo. Combo that ends on your entire extra deck, and combo which it puts up your standard end board. But, like, some decks combos are standard end board is, like, a lot of extra deck monsters. Like, I don't know. Also, like, entire extra deck, kind of quote-unquote, is, like... You could make that argument for Sword Soul. I mean, not the entire extra deck for Sword Soul, right? But, like... The only thing you really don't go into is stuff like Shengying or the Qixing Longyan or something like that. Like, I guess I just don't know what standard end board means. When the secret pack says hold the line, I don't even know what that means. Very consistent deck that sets up a decent board and has a lot of recursion. Just so many combo and control decks that fall under that definition. Ones that can do something, but nothing you say is meta. Good, but more like fun good. That's basing it off of whether the deck is meta or not. Sit between control and combo. Can build big boards. They don't fold interruptions these as combo decks, but can build big boards and have access to bigger tool sets than control decks do. I feel like they often lose out to more grind-heavy decks as well. That's combo. That's a combo deck. It's literally just describing a combo deck. Deck that can work well in casual and competitive. Nope. Mid-range is a combo that blah, 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 that accepts the existence of interaction to second player. What? Mid-range is a combo deck that accepts the existence of interaction to a second player. I have no idea what this sentence means. Small combo versus big combo, and the difference is how much main deck does need to invest in the engine pieces. I guess, but like, I don't know. I feel like I guess what is small combo versus big combo? Is it whether or not you can get Nibiru'd? Like, how many? Like, what is the line there? I was unaware I could reject the existence of a second player. Damn. Stun doesn't accept that 7 is sitting at the table. Yes, it does, because you need to have a player to lock their plays down. Otherwise, you're not locking anything down. And stun is defined by locking decks down. Therefore, stun needs the second player. I don't know. Now I'm just playing with words. Don't mind me. I refuse to use the term mid-range in Yu-Gi-Oh! Good, thank you. Sword Soul is an actual mid-range deck. Didn't read the prompt. Mid-range are decks that could end a game quickly if needed. That's combo. But don't usually push the point of their win more ceiling. It's usually just enough to keep pace. This sounds like somebody intentionally holding back. Like, what? You have to have a torture victim. Exactly. Tyr is my favorite combo deck. I use 95% of my end board. I use 95% of my deck to end board. Yeah, to end on your board. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but it's funny because you also have a lot of people who are defining combo as putting out a big, quote-unquote, unbreakable board, right? But Tier Limit doesn't do that. Tier Limit puts out a very small amount of interactions on their end board. But I would agree with you that they feel more like a combo deck. Which is interesting. Tier Limit being another very interesting example. Kind of like Dragon Link, where they do a lot to end on a little. So, I don't know. We need to find combo before we can call anything mid-range. I agree. I think this thread has definitely taught me that. A deck that is decent going both first and second and has decent recursion / recovery if you can break their board. An all-around deck that's a little bit good at everything. It's like playing as Mario in Mario Kart. I only want to talk about this reply for this last sentence. I don't think there's a Mario Kart game where your character affects your stats. Now I'm just nitpicking. Now I'm just nitpicking. Like in Double Dash, your character affects what special item you get, but like, doesn't affect your stats. Mario in Mario Kart. I feel like this is, funnily enough, I feel like this is a great, like the epitome of what mid-range means in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, because playing as Mario in Mario Kart doesn't mean anything inherently, nor does calling a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck mid-range. Doesn't truly exist, more of a vibe, not a definition. Alright. I think we're pretty much good on this for now. I think we've gotten the point by now. The combo category is a little outdated. The combo category kind of like is too broad. Yeah, it's outdated because it's too broad, because even control decks do a lot of comboing now. Mario Kart actually has a hidden buff with the character you play. Wait, really? I didn't know that. That's cool. Oh shit, did I just dog on this person and I was the one who was wrong? Well, that isn't the story of my life, honestly. Okay, I know I said in the stream title that we were going to be doing Ringo Worm theory crafting, but I actually do have other things I need to do tonight, and I went longer on this Twitter thread than I thought. So, no Ringo Worm. You know what? We'll do it on Sunday. How about we do that? Well, I mean, we'll probably do viewer duels on Sunday as well, but we can talk about Ringo Worm on Sunday as well. And, like, God, it's not like I'm not going to talk about Ringo Worm on the YouTube channel, you know? Once that card comes out, you're never going to hear me shut up about it anyway, so no ringworms. The Actualier has become the Actualied. Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of theory crafting with Ringo Worm. I mean, really, the main thing that I was gonna do tonight was kind of point out, and I can actually switch back over to Master Duel for this. The main thing I was gonna just do tonight regarding Ringo Worm is I wanted to point out how good, oh my god, if I could spell, how good Cyber Skagit is with that card. Because a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people have said, Hex with the sprite stuff, you know, as hit as it is that sprite synchro deck even still going to be a thing? And I think the answer is yes, because of Cyber Skagit. Another UR, I know, right? New pack, we'll do it when the new pack comes out. So, Cyber Skagit is a phenomenal card for the Sprite Synchro deck, and we actually could have been playing this card already, actually. Like, we didn't need Ringo Worm to necessarily be out. When this card is normal summoned, you can target a level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon defense mode, but its effects are negated. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon one gadget token, which is level 2. It's level 2, very important to note. And you can only use this effect once per turn. So, the first effect is actually very nice for follow-up plays if we need it, but it's not even why we play this card. We play this card for the second effect. We play this card, and if we open this plus Ringo Worm, we can go full combo without necessarily needing to open any sprite or sprite cards or Assault Synchron. So the idea behind Cyber Skagit, right, is that it's a Cyber monster that's level 4, which means we can link it off for Lingaribo. So your normal Cyber Skagit, link it off for the Lingaribo, then you get your Gadget token, which is a non-effect monster, which means Ringo Worm can special itself from the hand while you control it. You'll then have the level 2 Tuner Ringo Worm and this level 2 Gadget token, and you can sync those off for a Cupid Pitch. When Ringo Worm leaves the field, it makes a token, and that token can optionally be treated as a tuner. So when you make Cupid Pitch plus the token, you can just make Cupid Pitch level 6, have the token be not treated as a tuner, and then sync for Chaos Ruler, Then you can get the Caligo Clawcrow search, you get the Chaos Ruler Excavate, you can go into Sprint, send Shinobi, and keep in mind, you started this off by going Gadget into Lingaribo, which means you get to do the whole play under Imperm if you're going first, or you can potentially play through back rows going second. So, yeah. You say full combo, but I've never seen full combo. Well, it's like quote-unquote full combo. The full combo of Sprite Synchro is actually very hand-dependent on what you actually end on, but when I say full combo, I mean, like, it also super depends on what you excavate with the Chaos Ruler, too, honestly. So, I guess when I say full combo, I mean, at the very least, you can end on... What would that be? That would be, at the very least, assuming you whiffed on the Chaos Ruler and had absolutely nothing else in hand to work with. It would be Sprind plus Baron plus Chaos... No. It would be Sprind plus Dispater plus Chaos Ruler, or Sprind plus Baron. And if we're assuming we didn't hit Assault Synchron or anything else at all, then it would be Sprind plus Baron. You're telling me this deck has a resource loop. It's mid-range. That's good. I cannot wait to summon Manai and Prime Heart and use its special defensive abilities. Don't forget about its multiple energy blades. Alright. I'm tired. I'm memeing. I am going to find somebody to raid now. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by the stream today. It was awesome to get into a little bit of the new season, but it was also... excellent to go over that Twitter thread. I'm very glad we did because, like I said, I wanted to get the consensus of more people than just myself when parsing the replies and trying to figure out, you know, what the hell people are talking about when they say mid-range. Raid. Who are we raiding? Who's on? Who is on? Oh, Sarah's on. We like Sarah. Sarah is doing some TCG testing, it looks like. Would you be surprised if I told you that she was on Rescue Ace? So, yeah. Let's go say hi to Sarah. Sarah's good. We like Sarah. But yes, have a good evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace!